ABC News with Mary McDonald. Good afternoon. Housing policy has landed squarely at the centre of the election contest today as both Labor and the Liberals formally launch their campaigns. Here's political reporter Tom Lowry.
Anthony Albanese will launch the Labor campaign in Perth with two big housing pitches. $10 billion will be put up to build 100,000 homes for first home buyers. And all first home buyers will be given the opportunity to buy their home with just a 5% deposit. Housing Minister Claire O'Neill says it's a substantial offering.
Two game-changing measures.
Coalition campaign spokesperson James Patterson is critical of the government's housing record.
A government that hasn't delivered a single home under its signature housing policies.
Peter Dutton will launch the Liberal campaign in Western Sydney, detailing his pitch to first home buyers with a plan to make mortgage repayments tax deductible.
A man has been arrested following a fatal stabbing in Melbourne's southeast, which is now the subject of a homicide squad investigation. Yvette Gray reports.
Police say a man was found dead with injuries consistent with a stabbing inside a property on Mosgill Park Drive in Endeavour Hills about 6:30 this morning. At this stage, the circumstances which led to the man's death are unknown. Police arrested a man nearby and he will be interviewed by homicide squad detectives. The victim is yet to be formally identified, but investigators believe the men knew each other. Police want to speak to anyone who witnessed the incident or has relevant dashcam or CCTV footage which will assist in their investigation.
A section of Melbourne CBD is blocked off as detectives investigate how a man ended up with a gunshot wound this morning. Police say the injured man approached officers for help in Collins Street about 6:30. He was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A crime scene has been established where shattered glass can be seen on the road near a vehicle. More than 250 firefighting personnel have been deployed to central Victoria to contain an out-of-control bushfire. Authorities lost control of the 200-hectare planned burn near Daylesford yesterday, which has now grown to almost 300 hectares. A watch and act warning is in place for communities southwest of Daylesford, including Sailors Hill, Sailors Falls and Musk Vale. Chief Fire Officer for Forest Fire Management Victoria, Chris Hardman, says communities are advised to remain on high alert as conditions are forecast to worsen this afternoon.
We can expect the temperatures to increase and those winds to increase, so they're going to be incredibly challenging for firefighters.
US President Donald Trump says talks with Iran over its nuclear program are going okay after officials met for the first time in 7 years. Ali Crew reports.
Representatives from both countries gathered in Oman overnight ahead of potential negotiations about winding back Iran's nuclear ambitions. There are fears the Middle Eastern nation is close to developing nuclear armaments, with experts indicating it's ramped up production of weapons-grade uranium since the last Trump administration. Donald Trump has given a brief comment on the matter to journalists aboard Air Force One.
Nothing matters until you get it done, so I don't like talking about it, but the Iran situation is going pretty good.
Officials say the talks were productive and positive and have scheduled another meeting in around a week's time.
To sport, and the AFL's Gather Round comes to a conclusion in South Australia today with 3 games to be played. Jackson Byrne reports.
Gather Round's final day begins with Richmond facing Fremantle at Barossa Park and Lyndoch in the second ever game played at the venue. In Adelaide's eastern suburbs, St Kilda will be searching for a 4th consecutive win against Greater Western Sydney this afternoon at Nord Oval. A blockbuster clash between Port Adelaide and Hawthorn will close Gather Round this evening at Adelaide Oval. The undefeated Hawks will be looking for revenge after going down by 3 points in last year's semi-final. That final also saw power coach Ken Hinkley fined $20,000 for an aeroplane gesture he made towards Hawthorn.
And golfer Rory McIlroy is 1 round away from winning his first Masters title as he holds a 2-shot lead at Augusta. The Northern Irishman hit 2 eagles to shoot 6 under for his 3rd round, and he holds the outright lead at 12 under. A win would see the 35-year-old claim the green jacket and become only the 6th player to claim all 4 of the sports majors. Australian Jason Day will enter the final round with an outside chance of victory, tied for 6th at 5 under. To the weather now for the state: a dry, warm to hot and mostly sunny day with areas of smoke haze inland, mostly about central and northeast districts. For Melbourne, mostly sunny, a top today of 31 degrees. Tomorrow a shower or two, 23, partly cloudy on Tuesday, 26. Wednesday partly cloudy and 28 degrees then. Right now in Melbourne it's 30 degrees. ABC News.
The footy might stop with the final siren, but with ABC AFL, the conversation keeps rolling.
Here it is!
Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast with Premiership coach Paul Roos alongside Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron and Poppy Penny.
From walking on thin ice to dancing on the mountaintop.
It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app.
ABC Sport.
This is AFL Sunday with Matt Clinch and Cameron Ling. AFL Sunday on radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And take us with you on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
The City of Adelaide takes centre stage as all 18 teams gather in town with games at the Adelaide Oval, the Barossa and Norwood. The Bombers are up with a 33-point win over the Demons to get their season back on track at 2-2 and send Melbourne into a deeper hell.
So time for one more. Hand-busted Durham to Roberts at right half forward. He kicks it into the pocket. There may be time. Menzie mark into the open goal. He slams through another. Insult to injury on the siren. And Essendon's season has liftoff. A 39-point victory with back-to-back wins either side of the bye. While for the Demons, it's a 13-year low. Winless through their opening 5 rounds for the first time since 2012. The Demons season in free fall.
The Lions' belief reaches new heights as they prove they can come back from anywhere. 39 points down against the Western Bulldogs. They rattle home in a powerful display, turning it on when they need to most.
Staying down was Morris. Handballs to Hipwood. Here's another opportunity for the big fella. Straight through the middle. And he's got a handful at Norwood Oval. What a second half from Hipwood.
The Blues are on the winners list in 2025 against the Eagles, but the win was soured by injuries to Harry Mackay and Brodie Kemp.
Kick from Durden in the path of White. Wheels away from Hunt. 50 out. One-on-one in the goal square. Cripps has got Jimby right where he wants him. Cripps from 30 has 3. Carlton are relishing their time in the great state of South Australia. Game 200 for Adam Sard. And Carlton's Blues are finally over. The Baggers sink the lowly Eagles and record their first win of 2025. They demolish West Coast by 71 points.
While the Gold Coast Suns extend their unbeaten streak to 5 to mark their best start to an AFL season with a 52-point win over the Roos in the Barossa.
Here comes Ben King. Trudges in, boot to ball, swings it back beautifully. Expertly gold. And that is a handful for Ben King, and that's exactly what he's been for the North Melbourne defenders.
Hello and welcome to AFL Sunday on ABC Sport. It's a rapid-fire show before we head to the Barossa for Richmond and Fremantle. So just a 25-minute edition. I'm Matt Clinch coming to you from Adelaide. A man who's not here with the travelling circus. He might be one of the few who aren't. Geelong Premiership captain Cameron Ling, welcome to you. How have you seen it from afar?
Good afternoon, Clinchy. Great to be with you. I've loved it. It's been terrific, some wonderful footy and some of those highlights that you just touched on there, the Brisbane Lions, just reminding everyone how good they are. But, Clinchy, we love to on a Sunday. We're going to dive straight into it, start with our highlight. And I'm sorry to all the people of Adelaide who love the Crows. I'm going all the way back to Thursday night. Gather Round kicked off with an absolute beauty. What a game of footy it was. Of course, I'm a little bit happier than the Crows supporters, but it was a sensational game. The Crows kicked 100 points, but the Cats just went that little bit better. And probably my biggest highlight, with my Cats supporters hat on, Clinchy, was the fact that Jeremy Cameron got rolling and building into the season, finished the game off brilliantly.
Dempsey all alone on the 50. He'll hand it off to Manor and then squeezes the kick central to Cameron. Unselfish. It's been a quiet night for him so far, but Cameron is starting to lift. In the moments that matter, Jez has got 3.
He ended up with 4, and along with Paddy Dangerfield, who also kicked the 4 goals, turned around. I think it was 12 points at halftime, but at one stage in that second quarter, a 5-goal deficit. The Crows were playing scintillating footy, thanks to Darcy Fogarty and a lot of their terrific attacking players. But the Cats coming over the top of them, Clinchy. What a way to start Gather Round. I was pretty happy at that stage.
I can imagine so. Geelong 19-point winners. Bailey Smith, Max Holmes, Danger and Cameron up forward. Geez, they looked powerful, didn't they? And the Crows, maybe a reality check with a little bit of work to be done. But we're trying to work out where everyone sits throughout the 2025 season. My highlight, Lingy, well, maybe not the Blues in how well they were able to win over the West Coast Eagles by 71 points. But if there's one man in which Michael Voss will be relieved to see back to his best, it was Sam Walsh. And didn't he put on a show yesterday?
Slow build up here. De Koning looks inside the forward 50. Over the top comes Brock. Spoils, but straight down to Walsh. Walsh, the weapon. He's got 3. And there's something to smile about for Carlton fans.
37 disposals, 13 score involvements, a career best 3 goals. The old Neil Danher, more is said than done. Go out and show us what you can do, and Sam Walsh did that for the Blues. A bit of a sour note with Harry Mackay with concussion, and Brodie Kemp, the reports there about an Achilles injury sound terrible, but the Blues just did what they had to do, and they're on the board in 2025.
Yeah, you're right, and I worry about Brodie. As soon as you hear Achilles, you just straight away think 12 months, fingers crossed, but we'll wait on that news. And Harry Mackay, coming back into the team, unfortunate, but you're right, Carlton did what they had to do, led by Walsh and a few of their other leaders. I worry about the team they're playing against, though, Clinchy. They weren't beating much, the Blues. The West Coast made the big statement during the week by dropping Tim Kelly, the 2023 Best and Fairest winner, and making a bit of a statement, but they certainly didn't make any sort of statement out on the field. Carlton did it so easily.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you on your highlights, 0437 774 774. Just we're on the West Coast Eagles. It's an interesting challenge, isn't it, for Minnie McWalter right now, the interim rookie coach who takes over the West Coast Eagles. They feel like they're sort of halfway through a rebuild. Our own Luke Ball caught up with him, as everyone does in Adelaide. You gather together and the chance to go for a bit of a walk and a coffee. And I was interested as to his observations as to how the week played out for Oscar Allen.
It's interesting. I had a walk and a coffee with the Eagles coach this morning, ex-teammate of mine, and really mature about it. You know, from his point of view, in the 4 walls, he had plenty of conversations with Oscar. His comment was that as long as he turns up to training to get better every day, and both from himself, and then as a leader of the club, to make the team better, then he has no issue with what happens beyond that, in terms of the player and his career.
Luke Ball on AFL Saturday yesterday. What are your thoughts on that, Lee?
Yeah, I understand the maturity around it, but the only thing I'd question are they getting better? I don't see it. They're playing a team who is winless, and I don't know, probably Carlton are a little bit better than being winless, but they're playing a team who hadn't scored a win yet, and they just did not even look like it. Not for a moment did I feel a little surge in momentum where I thought, oh, hang on, West Coast is showing a bit here. It was just non-existent. So are they getting better? Are the training standards what they need to be? Is the approach around the club what it needs to be? They probably think they are, but sometimes you don't know what you don't know because you've got nothing to compare it to. You think your own standards are high, but I've got to question whether or not they truly are high because I'm just seeing no real signs of life in that group and no real... big steps forward and then maybe you have a couple back and then you take another big step forward. The steps forward aren't happening.
No, it's certainly not. And they look like a club that desperately needs a little bit of leadership at the moment with a new coach. The challenge there for the West Coast Eagles. They and Melbourne are the 2 winless sides so far in 2025. Just a rapid fire show because we're taking you to Richmond and Fremantle. There's no late changes there. Jacob Bauer and Isaac Dudley will be the subs for the respective sides. Just a thought or two on Gather Round, the 3rd edition, Lingy. We heard Jack Higgins, I guess at the start or the end of last week, the start of Gather Round, saying that he might spend the whole week in his room and play video games. Well, Mason Redmond joined us from the Bombers last night, and he was a bit more in the spirit of the week.
From where we sit, we love Gather Round. We can't stop talking about it. From a player's perspective, I know you're Adelaide boy. What do you guys think of it the weekend?
I absolutely froth it. I think there's all talk about other cities potentially getting it, but I think Adelaide and South Australia as a whole get behind these sort of events. We've done that with local footy, most local footy having the weekend off, the SANFL having the weekend off. It just gets so many people to the CBD, and I think obviously having Adelaide Oval so close to the city's absolutely pumping. I didn't want to go out of my room today. Just get absolutely swamped in the city. So it's it's awesome to see, and I think the sentiment is that it's growing every year, and I can't see it leaving anytime soon. Absolutely love it.
Mason Redmond summing up the way that South Australians feel when they get the chance to beat out their chest and speak about how their state is doing. 45,039 last night at the Adelaide Oval for the game between the Bombers and the Demons. That's the only all-Victorian clash. So it pushes the attendance over 200,000 with 3 games still to be played today. The record, I think, is somewhere around 280, so it feels like they'll surpass that. How have you viewed it, Lingy? And for a lot of our listeners, I'm sure there's a temptation to try and get across the border and get a part of it if you haven't been in the past.
Yes, I experienced it last year firsthand and loved it. Absolutely loved it. And now watching from afar, I love it watching it. I love the different grounds. I love the different fields. I love Norwood Oval. Watching the games at the Barossa. It's and you could only imagine the wonderful weekends people are having when they include the Barossa game in their itinerary, and they join it in with all the other things they can do. It's brilliant, and I said it last year when I experienced it firsthand, being there. I don't see it working other cities. I don't think it's something you share around. Maybe in 10, 15 years' time, a Tasmanian-based one could work. It could, because of the proximity to everything. But let's let Tassie get established first. But it's harder to move around Sydney. That's just a fact. Grounds are spread out where you play them. It is difficult to get around. Adelaide, it's not. You feel like, the Adelaide Oval is right there in the city. You can walk to everything around there. And the other grounds are pretty easily accessible. So it works, and it should stay there. They've made a massive winner of it.
So as a parent with a young family, what would be your sell as to how the Premier, who's trying to appease everyone, can make it more appealing for families?
No, that's a difficult one, because I think it is very appealing for families in Adelaide. The only trouble is the cost factor, and that's a little bit out of his hands, because he can't dictate what the airlines do for the surge in ticket prices to fly over. So then you drive over, and there's petrol costs and things like that. Accommodation is difficult, and a lot of the hotels are snapped up straight away by clubs, because now you've got 16 travelling clubs who've got to be accommodated, not just players, coaches, staff, but they have corporate packages that they bring over, lots and lots of their corporate people. So accommodation gets expensive. That's the only factor, Clinchy, that gets hard for. If Nicole and I were looking at taking our 3 boys over, is 5 people. It adds up in a hurry. Yeah. But that's kind of out of his control, because everything else is appealing. The activations around it, the proximity to everything. It's a really attractive prospect for families. Just the dollars add up, unfortunately.
Yeah, kids clinics, a lot of the clubs are doing their bit to make sure after they play their game, the following day there's a free clinic in which they can go to, trainings at the suburban grounds. There was a sad incident where one of the young South Australian kids unfortunately copped a Jamie Elliott. In fact, it was a Bobby Hill ball that broke his hand, but that's the downside of getting so close to the action. But I think more free activities is what you can try and do to make it as appealing as possible to all footy fans. AFL Sunday on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Cameron Ling with you. The big talking point, Ling, is going to be the Melbourne Football Club. Already, Charlie's been in touch on the SMS 0437 774 774. This may sound a bit political, but the Melbourne Football Club has lost its soul. No club culture, no centralised training location, training facilities shared with other sports. They are completely lost and have forgotten who they play for. So that's some of the sentiments coming through from Melbourne fans. The Bombers led by 29 points in the first half at half-time. The Demons kicked 5 goals to 3 and got back into the game. And at one stage, it felt like it was going to be single digits. Stephen May unfortunately dropped a mark right on three-quarter time. The umpire didn't deem that enough of a mark. Nick Martin ran into the open goal with 16 points at three-quarter time. And then there was the Christian Petrarca shot on goal early in the final term. Some great desperate defending from Sammy Durham. And the Bombers in the end ran out comfortable winners, and Melbourne, a 13-year low, the first time since 2012 they've started the season winless. What did you make of last night?
Yeah, I mean, again, probably similar to the weekend before for Melbourne. They showed a bit of fight, but composure and execution was not there again. It wasn't a brilliant game of footy, I'll be honest. Essendon get the win, and well done, congratulations, and they take another step forward in what they're trying to build in their season. But it wasn't an overly pretty game. I wasn't watching 2 premiership contenders go at it, let's be honest, watching that one. Melbourne is interesting, and so many questions are now being asked of the coach, Clinchy, Simon Goodwin, and quite rightly so when you're in this situation, given the fall from a premiership and where they looked like they were premiership favourites, or they were premiership favourites the next year, and then they straight sets, it's just been falling. Some big questions are going to be asked of him. Is he the right one to take them forward? Are the key leaders and top players the right people to still take this group forward? Gawn, Oliver, Petrarca, Viney, May. They're not young men anymore, Clinchy. So they're the big questions. And I've been looking at them really closely, and the question around Simon Goodwin. So for the next 3 weeks, they go Fremantle at home, Richmond at the MCG, and then West Coast away. They've got to win 2 or 3 of those. That's a little block where it's winnable games. And then they get Hawthorn at the G and Brisbane away. They're going to get smacked in those 2. So a 5-week block where they should win 2 or 3 and then they are probably going to get smacked. But the deeper questions lie in, what's the group look like? What sort of football do they play in that 5-week block where there could be some joy of some wins and there could be some beltings? How are the players buying into the program? Can you see them demonstrating exactly what Simon Goodwin wants them to do? Are they improving or are they stagnating? Is there unity and selflessness being displayed on the field, or is there selfishness and a desire to just look after your own little backyard? And if there's not that unity and selflessness, then something has to change. And that is either personnel or the system with which they're playing in and the game plan type stuff. If it's personnel, then you are talking coaches and players. I want to see in that block of games, Clinchy, improvement from Bowie, from Sparrow, from Windsor, from Turner, from Van Rooyen, and from Charlie Spargo as well. Throw him in there. I think he's dropped off a little bit. I'm not necessarily saying it's got to be Gawn, Petrarca, Viney, these types of players. May. I know what I'm getting from them most weeks, all that effort. What am I seeing from the others? And that will tell me if Simon Goodwin has got this group heading through a dark patch into some light, or if some big changes need to be made.
Cameron Ling with his thoughts on AFL Sunday on ABC Sport. Here was the thoughts of the coach, Simon Goodwin, as to whether he's the man, and Trent Rivers, who joined us in the post-match.
I'm incredibly confident, John. It's not about me. It's about the club, it's about the team, it's about these players. We've had a lot of challenges as a club, and I said this during the week, we've had a lot of challenges through my time at the footy club. And, I've been pretty well serviced to see the club through that. And I feel pretty well credentialed to do that. And we're in a challenging spot right now, and we acknowledge that. But my focus is just doing my job to the best of the ability. And, I believe I've got the credentials to do it. We've got a team that I think can continue to move forward. And that's the way we're going to go about doing it.
Yeah, it is disappointing. We need to own and recognise the spot that we're in, which is 0-5. There's a lot of work to do. I think there's a lot of guys that are willing to do it. But we need to be better. We just need to be better. I think we'll go away, sleep on it, and just come out of a meeting in the morning. But I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. There's a lot of work that us players need to do. The coaches, they've got a plan in place. We're getting a lot of things going for us. We just need to execute and finish off. I think it's pretty clear. It's across the whole ground. If you're 0-5, there's not a lot going right. So that's definitely on the players. We just need to get better at your area, what you do, your day to day, your week to week, and hopefully the results start turning for us.
Trent Rivers, who joined us in the post-match last night, so trying to say all the right things, publicly support the coach. I guess the question, which we kind of alluded to last week, Lingy, with Brad Green acting as the president at the moment, the suggestion is that he'll hand over the baton to Stephen Smith at the end of the season. No CEO as yet. So how do you conduct a review to try and work out whether Simon Goodwin's messaging is still getting through? Max Gawn looks like a captain carrying the weight of his world on his shoulders. Christian Petrarca looks like a player who desperately wants to be the man. So how would you assess even whether Simon Goodwin is still the right voice for this playing group?
That's an excellent question, Clinchy. You need those other key leaders in place with a really clear vision of what it looks like. And as I said, if you had a president and 1 or 2 board members plus the CEO, plus the GM of footy and maybe even one external person who could give you a fresh set of eyes, needs to look at those block of games in the next, so even out to a month and a half, 2 months block. And what are they observing on the field? What are they observing around the club? What are the interactions like in the corridors, Clinchy, during the week? Are they the little whispers of playing blame game on different people and, it's the coach's fault, oh no, the players aren't delivering? Or is it a genuine sense of how we are working through this together? But when there's not those key leaders in place and that really clear, together we are going to work out, are we on the right path and this is just a bad patch we're going to come out of, or do we need to make some changes? That gets really difficult. There's not an obvious clear path out of this, because it is too simple to say, we've got Gawn, Petrarca, Oliver, Viney, May. We'll get it sorted, because we know they can't quite do it to the level that they were able to do it to a few years ago. They can do it for periods of time, but when they're trying to do it all and they're that bit older, or in Petrarca's case, a little bit underdone given the health and the pre-season interruption and everything like that, it stops working. So it's got to be deeper than that. As a whole club cultural thing, they've got to fix up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the next sort of 4 to 5, 6 weeks go. I'm with you. I'm curious to see how it all plays out. Can Melbourne turn around their season? And will Simon Goodwin still be there at the end? Matt Clinch and Cameron Ling with you for AFL Sunday on ABC Sport. There's no late changes for the match between Richmond and Fremantle. Jacob Bauer and Isaiah Dudley are the subs. Do you want to talk about Brisbane, or do you want to talk about the Gold Coast briefly? Which one are you more impressed by?
Probably more impressed by Brisbane again. That seems obvious, but they were challenged by a really hungry Bulldogs team, because I was quite impressed with the Bulldogs. Now, when you capitulate like that, the temptation is to say, oh, horrible, horrible. But they're still missing key players, the Bulldogs. They showed that group has improved a lot to be able to sustain it against the benchmark of the competition for 60% of the game. But unfortunately, without their truly great players, their top-class players, they can't do it for longer against the very best. And Brisbane just stuck at what they were doing. And eventually, when they broke the Dogs down, it looked like they just had rocket fuel on board, and they just exploded. The ball movement and the depth of their midfield, and it was incredible. And then obviously Eric Hipwood was the one who was the beneficiary of it, but it was all the work across the ground. They were sensational, Clinchy, the Brisbane Lions. Coming from behind again, which is not what Chris Fagan would love. He'd prefer them well out in front. But again, they are the clear benchmark of the comp.
Yeah, 3 of their 4 matches they've come from behind. They're going to be a scary proposition when they put 4 quarters together. But yeah, Yippee Hipwood with 5 goals in the second half. What a performance. And I did love the byplay with Ben King and Mick Malthouse. Mick was trying to get him to declare whether the Gold Coast Suns were going to feature in finals. Definitely. Do you believe in the coach? Do you believe in the team? Do you believe in the leadership? He said, I believe in all that, but I'm not declaring it right here and right now. But the Suns can't be doing much more than what they're doing right now. Now, we'd like to close each program with Cameron Ling and his last word.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have much pleasure in inviting 1963 Geelong Premiership player Doug Wade to present the Premiership Cup to Cameron Ling and the Geelong Football Club.
Blackie, toughest opponent.
Cameron Ling.
Ben Cousins, toughest opponent.
Cameron Ling.
Dane Swan, toughest opponent.
Probably Cameron Ling.
Oh, thank you, boys. I'm going to look ahead to one of the games being played today. This one's at Norwood Oval. The Saints taking on the Giants, Clinchy. And St Kilda supporters who listen to us regularly know that I've been fairly brutal on them over the last few years, and I think quite rightly so. I know they think I've got something against them, but I was just saying what I felt, and I didn't think they were much chop over the last couple of years. Now, when I approach a game like this, I reckon 4 weeks ago, I would not have even had a second glance at this game. I would have just gone Giants. Giants win. For the first time, I had to pause and consider and wrestle with the decision of who I was going to tip between the Saints and the Giants in this afternoon's game, because the Saints now aren't just showing the Ross Lyon type defensive mechanisms and the hunger and the contest and everything like this. They are showing a sensational ability to move the footy. They are attacking. Their ball use across the ground is brilliant, backed up by some great defensive work and some hunger around the contest and enormous pressure. But they are playing outstanding footy. So I spent a lot of time thinking, will they, won't they? I'm not exactly sure between these two. Ultimately, I did go and tip the Giants, but the Saints have caught my attention and thought, hang on, the team that I tipped to make the grand final, the GWS Giants, they're not going to have it easy today. The Saints are a good football team.
Absolutely. Beat Geelong, beat GWS. All of a sudden, we're all sitting up to take notice, and can they feature in the finals? It's a good test, and I'm looking forward to that on the parade this afternoon. Richmond and Fremantle kick off things from Barossa, and Port Adelaide and Hawthorn. We haven't really touched on that, but I feel like we'll get to see it all this afternoon tonight as to what will unfold. Will Jack Ginnivan get the last word, or will Ken Hinkley be able to answer back? On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Understand you have to talk about Melbourne, but don't feel like the Bombers got enough credit. Let's see if they can win their next 2, and then we'll give them some credit. Looking forward to seeing Harry Huswaite get his opportunity. And Melbourne feel a little bit similar to what has happened at Collingwood in the past. Haven't they already done a review? Yes, that's a challenge. The former CEO did so. Lee, thanks for a rapid-fire show. We'll chat next Sunday.
Thanks, Clinchy. All the best. Enjoy the rest of Gather Round.
We're off to the Barossa. Clint Wilde and Ben Cameron to pick up proceedings with Mick Malthouse and Peter Bell as the footy continues. Gather Round on ABC Sport.
With the federal election imminent, is there a podcast to help you break down those headlines and detangle the spin? There sure is. You can join me, Patricia Carvelis, for Politics Now on the ABC Listen app.
ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
This is the 2025 AFL Gather Round.
Root to steady and finish.
It's close to the goal line and Marty good there. Another one.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
Rampy from 55 and right all the way home.
Huge fend off and kicks the goal. The skipper off a step finishes.
Take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
Right foot strike. He's got it. Oh, the home fans like that. Takes a bounce. Unguarded. Goal square. He's got it. Reed's going to go for goal. Oh, my goodness. That truly is remarkable.
Live from South Australia, this is Gather Round on ABC Sport. On radio, on digital and on the ABC Listen app.
You take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
The backdrop is one of wineries and hills. Welcome to Lyndoch, a tourist town in the Barossa Valley, home to more than 150 wineries and 80 cellar doors. And for the next 3 hours, the venue for Richmond versus Fremantle. Sleepy town, normally of about 2,000 people, 10,000 have descended into what has become this weekend a football mecca. This brand new ground, Barossa Park, Lyndoch. $45 million spent on making it an AFL fit venue. Well, yesterday we saw almost a capacity crowd. There's another one expected today. Gold Coast emerging victorious against North Melbourne yesterday. Will it be the Dockers or the Tigers in what is the 51st AFL VFL venue? Clint Wilden with you. Ben Cameron's with me. G'day, Ben.
Yeah, g'day, Wheelie. Great to be here. So Barossa Park, a capacity today of 10,000, usually 5,000. A $40 million upgrade is what we've seen to the main grandstand, which is a community hub. They've got netball courts out the back. This ground will be used for little athletics and football games and all the rest of it. What a backdrop, though. The rolling hills, the vineyards, the blue sky. A little bit of cloud cover has come over, which is good because it is 31 degrees, so just cooling it down slightly. History has had its eyes on the Barossa the last few days. It is tremendous to be here.
And once again, almost no standing room. They're 4 or 5 deep up against the fences. They've brought in a number of temporary grandstands. There's 5 that dot the outer side or the Barossa Valley Way side or wing of the ground. They will fill up as this game is about to get underway. Let's get the thoughts of our experts. Richmond versus Fremantle, a game the Dockers really should win. But the Tigers giving a debut, a 5th debutant for the season. It's one of their key forwards that they've signed, Jonty Fall, their 5th debutant in 2025. Looking forward to seeing what the 195-centimetre player can do. But the Dockers come here. Peter Bell, Mick Malthouse, they simply have to get this one done if they are to take the steps that many expected in season 25. Welcome to both of you.
Good afternoon and great to be here in the picturesque Barossa Valley and 80 cellar doors. We've just got a couple left to tick off after the footy today. Just joking, of course. Can't wait for this contest. Shea Bolton taking on his old team as a 2-time premiership player at the Tigers. Looking forward to seeing young Jonty Fall. We've seen Lawler, Armstrong, Trainer, Fall. Still waiting for Josh Smilly as well, but another young player to have an appearance for the Tigers. And looking forward to the ruck contest between an underdone Sean Darcy, Mick Malthouse, against a real battering ram in Toby Nankervis.
Yeah, Belly, thank you. And to our listeners, it is fantastic. It's fantastic to actually see a few clouds, quite frankly. That's the biggest joy I've got all day.
It's very dry out here, isn't it, Mick?
Oh, well, you're talking to the person who doesn't... I keep rain gauges where I'm at, and it's very, very dry. So anyway... Belly, you've pinched a little bit of my thunder there. The ruck duel should be very, very interesting. They're two bulls, absolute bulls. I don't think that Fremantle can make the 8 without Darcy being the principal ruckman. I know that Jackson's been good, but he can match any ruckman in the competition. Secondly, how many Jonties do you know? I know one that was a very good fielder.
Yeah, the South African, yeah.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to this one because he comes from Redan, which is just up the road from where I used to live, so in Ballarat. So full of kids. Spoke to Blake Sarakara this morning, and he said, we've got a lot of kids. I said, don't use it as an excuse, Blake. Use it as an offensive tool because these kids will give you everything.
From the kids, though, well done to their coach for the Tigers, Adam Uze. 300th game as a player and a coach today. 271 as a player with Melbourne. With his 29 games today in charge of the Tigers. 300 all up. Let's quickly go downstairs. Steve Murphy's on the boundary for us, Steve.
Yes, guys, I know it's about to start, so I'll be quick, but you did mention the cloud cover. Got to say, as a boundary rider out in the weather all day, most excited by that. It has got a bit cooler thanks to the cloud. I'm sure the players and umpires hope it stays all day.
Let's get started. Here's Ben Cameron. Gather round on ABC Sport.
Opening clearance going the way of the Tigers. McIntosh kicks it inside 50. Falk brings it down, and Morris Rioli goes. Wearing the number made famous by his dad for the first time. He kicks the first goal in the game. And that is bang, 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 Richmond. What a moment for the family.
Now, Steve, straight at a game. Belly, we were here yesterday talking about you get the clearance from the centre, you cause all sorts of havoc down the other end you don't know. And quite frankly, what a take, what a first-hand ball take there by, I know McIntosh kicked it, Hopper out to McIntosh. And great crumbing. And the ball goes in the back line that can only have 6 players. So straight away you are under fierce pressure.
He's a top 10 player for centre clearances in the competition, Jacob Hopper, and he gets the first one of this game. Ideal start for the Tigers. Jaden Short opposed to Shea Bolton in the Fremantle forward line.
By the way, the benches, Dow, Brown, Sonsi and Blight. For the Dockers, it's Reid, Draper, Banfield and Johnson back underway in the middle. The Dockers will get the clearance through Young. Thumps it inside forward 50. No mark taken. Big collision. Bolton's able to gather. Handed it off to Sarong. Sweeps a hand pass over the top. Trying to take it down to ground. Good tackle in the end. Tracy's locked up his opponent and trying to climb up off the deck is Miller. They'll have a ball up inside forward 50 for Freo.
Umpire puts it aloft. Darcy wins it down, but Richmond come away with it. Trainer gets a handball away to Nankervis. Off the Banks. He'll kick up to the wing, looking for a contest. Lynch goes up, brings it down at ground level. Coming through Clark for the Dockers. Knocks it out towards Sarong. He's worried out of it. And Richmond emerge with it. Taranto to Lynch. Handball to Banks. Backward of the logo. Forward handball to Campbell. Campbell now a little bereft. Handball to Hopper. Richmond all of this on the wing. Banks again. He'll kick inside, attacking 50. Wants a marker down there, Ryan, for the Dockers. Marks in the back pocket.
Heads out towards Chapman. He marks. Keeping right back pocket. Great crowd in. About 10,000. Not a great kick. Found its way to Warner. I'm going to hand it off to Ryan. No real pressure coming from the Tigers. There's a bit more here. Going towards Cox. Just spinning out of trouble. Got it to Frederick at left half back. Running by Warner again. Gets the kick away. Nicely worked. This is to Brayshaw. Marks on the logo. Commentary side. Sends it long towards full forward. Stretching Tracy. Marks for Fremantle. Left forward pocket. It's tighter than a 45-degree angle. He'll put boot to ball from 35 out.
I'm just trying to work out. It's rather hard in this box where we're talking. Belly looks at one half of the ground, look at the other half. And this is my half. I should have known who his direct opponent was, but it was a very, very strong mark. And I like the mark down. I have to watch the TV to say who defensively. It was Ryan, was it?
Luke Ryan
took the mark
and Tracy opposed to Ben Miller.
Yeah. So very good.
Tracy continues his long run of a goal in every game. 25 games in a row now. He sends it through for the Dockers first of the afternoon. And we're all square here at Barossa Park in Linddock. One straight 6 apiece. We've travelled 3 minutes into the opening term. Gather round on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and on the AFL button on the ABC Listen Out. Our experts, Hall of Famers, Michael Malthouse and Peter Bell.
Yeah, Brennan Cox able to break a tackle. Frederick involved. Carl Warner with an inboard kick to Andy Brayshaw, and Andy had a lot of time to survey the forward 50. Josh Tracy got goal side of his opponent Miller and took a strong contested mark. Good separation from Amos and Broad to allow Tracy to leap at the footy.
They've got some senior players down in Richmond, got some kids, and the kids are the ones that have been getting found out. So they've really got to get numbers back there to help them out in the, particularly in the air.
Kicked 5 goals in the last meeting between these two teams. It was Shea Bolton on that occasion who kicked the first goal, playing for the opposite team here today. Morris Rioli this afternoon, and then Josh Tracy, the Dockers, take it away out of the middle. Brayshaw with a left foot kick, looking for Amos this time. Lots of it, tries to claim the mark. Umpire says no. Hit the ground, and the umpire wants to come in and ball it up.
He's one that's really been a little bit disappointing, Amos, I reckon, with his goal kicking, and he's not going to get it a lot of times, so he's got to make them count.
Nankervis for Taranto gets a quick kick away to Ross, halfback flank here for Richmond. The umpires, Jankovskis, Nichols, Rebashini and Jones in charge of this today.
With the ball, his trainer. 5th game. Grandson of great Doug Wade. He sends it back inside his defensive 50. You know what? And then turns it over down the throat of Tracy. Good mark just in front of the logo for the Dockers, commentary side of the ground. He'll kick back inside forward 50. Didn't quite get enough on that, and floating across, Nankervis marks defensively, sends it out to Broad, left back pocket for the Tigers, kicks beyond defensive 50. Chance to build up again here. Broad was able to find a teammate. They'll head towards the outer side of the ground. Oh, good smother. Knocked down by the Dockers, emerging with it. Bolton takes a bounce, runs the 50 out from goal, sends it towards goal, but misses to the right-hand side. A minus score. Dockers 1-1-7, Richmond 1 straight 6, 5.5 gone in this opening term. Gather round on ABC Sport.
That's the reason why Richmond are up there on the ladder. They've made 2 fundamental errors with their decision making, and that's the difference between being a good side and a side that's still learning.
Miller with the kicking, goes right up the middle, swooping on it. Morris Rioli, he's loving his dad's number, gives it to Jack Ross, off to McIntosh, runs inside 50 and kicks it. Richmond go coast to coast, and it's the boy from Pinjarra who goals against the Dockers. 2 straight 12 plays, 1-1-7, 6 played opening term. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
It was an interesting play from Jordan Clark there. I thought he could have made more of a play on the footy. He just sort of ran alongside it for a little while, tapped it out in front of him. Morris Rioli swooped, clean as a whistle, and Camden McIntosh, who started in the centre square. Interesting to see if he's got a role on Sarong perhaps, but gets forward and punishes Fremantle.
Hasn't he been fantastic for the McIntosh? He was gone a couple of years ago. Everyone said, his disposal's not good enough. We're losing a lot of players, so therefore we'll keep him. But keeping him, he has been invaluable, not only because of his leadership, but he still wins a lot of the footy.
Ball back in the middle for the restart. Darcy stands there, wins it down. Only as far as Hopper, though. Broke a tackle, handed it off to Nankervis for the Tigers. Sweeping hand pass to Taranto. Gets a kick around the body. Inside forward, 50, Rioli. Up again and marking. The 17 looking spectacular on his back. You mentioned, Ben, of course, his dad's number, and then Daniel had it as well. Now another Rioli with 17. Jumper for the Tigers. He'll go back and have a shot at goal from about 45 out. He'll start in line with the right hand behind post.
There's Luke Ryan on him as well. That was really strange that he was sort of a bit late getting there and just couldn't quite get the jump at the ball. So Rioli being in the right position, very, very good position.
Rioli already looking for a second goal. We've travelled about 7.5 minutes. Rioli kick is on its way. It's floating out to the right, but it sneaks in the right hand upright. He's got 2. The Tigers have got 3. Richmond 3 straight 18. Fremantle 1-1-7. 8 gone in the opening term. Gather round on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Ben Cameron. Our experts here at Barossa Park in Lyndoch, Michael Malthouse and Peter Bell.
Yes, sharp start from the Tigers. Hopper involved again. That's his second appearance. Taranto also getting his hands on the ball, and Rioli just had the jump on Luke Ryan, who was sagging off a little bit. Right place, right time. Second goal for Rioli.
Just worries me, Belly, the way defenders set up. The starting point has to be the shoulder, and then you can drift off. You can't have a starting point 5 yards off and a quick kick, a mongrel kick that comes in, and you expect to get there.
You get found out.
Starting point's got to be your man.
Just on that, number 17 jumper. His dad wore it 118 times between 1982 and 87. What a start here for Richmond. Knocking it on, Thompson Dow trying to pick it up. Is Sean Darcy. Jack Ross does. Gives it off to Hopper again. Forward handball, looking for Campbell. There's a whistle on the play. The free kick will be downfield, and Campbell will get it. Hopper was dealt with. And another shot on goal here for Richmond.
Sarong's not handling the tag well. It is an angry hand at the moment.
Well, Fremantle aren't handling the centre bounce as well at the moment, Mick, as well. Richmond has just dominated, yeah.
Yep. Well, that's Nankervis. Darcy's got to pick his game up.
This to make it a really hot start for the Tigers. Campbell's drop punt is fading right. Just misses out that way. First blemish for the Tigers.
Great start to the year for Campbell. 9 goals to this point of the season. Really, really quick player as well.
Plus the 9.8 on the backflip after the goal. 3-1-19 plays 1-1-7. Stephen Murphy downstairs.
Warner's going to give a bit of attention at the moment to his left shoulder. That was Cole Warner. Didn't pick up on that.
Multiple goals every game of 2025, Campbell, as the Dockers move it towards right half forward. All brought to ground. Boston is able to shovel it forward. And to take it away, the Tigers. Bolton does emerge with it. Got it on to Young. Kicks it inside forward 50. Tracy Marks took a step. We'd be allowed to go back and take the kick. He will. And then I reckon that's harsh against Miller, because Miller's been king for encroaching the mark. I thought he had every right to sort of be there as if Tracy, who looked like he was about to play on. It might be to the letter of the law, but that's a tough call.
He did play on.
He explored
well,
for sure.
I reckon he played on.
Well, the letter of the law is he played on.
He goes through meantime and kicks the goal. Tracy's got his second as well. Fremantle 2-1-13. Richmond 3-1-19. 11 gone in the opening term. He got taken, of course, to the top of the 50-metre goal square. So I would say he played on. I thought he was very lucky to be allowed to go back and take his kick. But then to ping Miller, who I thought reasonably thought he was going to play on.
He might have had something to say as well. I think we all agree on the play on call, and he just got lost a little bit. It was a nice little bit of forward craft from Tracy. He definitely took a couple of steps to explore, and I reckon Miller had something to say to the umpire, which was probably the reason for the 50.
Cannot point at an umpire.
Yeah, it's the verbal afterwards the reason for the 50, not for holding on to it.
And pointing, you never point at an umpire. But that came about because 3 Richmond players fumbled the ball on the back flank when they had, if they were probably a year older, they're cleaner with the ball.
Voss into the ruck for the Dockers. Nankervis wins the tap down. Brayshaw pinches it. His handball into the muck. Picked up by Bolton. Showtime handball. Back to Showtime Shea. Flying kick inside 50. Tracy again. He's got it. He's going to kick for his third. And he just loves playing against Richmond.
Well, Bolton really clean out of the centre square. They've wrested back a bit of momentum from that part of play, Fremantle, and Tracy's just looking so dangerous, stating the obvious, but Miller was caught in front of Tracy. Tracy had the drop on him. Very difficult to defend in that situation.
45-degree angle, but only 15 metres out. He's going to snap, and it is triple Tracy to begin this game for the Dockers. And they draw level. 3-1-19, each of 12 minutes into this opening term. Round 5, this is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
Well, a lot, Belly, was that looking for now, the kick into the...
Was Bolton?
Yeah, Bolton.
Yeah, Bolton.
Bolton's kick in was superb. A deep, long kick. Everyone was one-on-one. The better man took the right position, and kicks his third goal. This is a story that we heard last week when a certain full forward kicked 9 goals. So it's not necessarily the one-on-ones. You've got to get your numbers across. You've got to be able to drop off the least offensive player in the forward line and help out in the air.
Bounce to get a restart, and Curvis was able to get it down. But it's taken eventually by Brayshaw. Time to taken off it, and Ross kicking inside the right forward pocket for the Dockers. Bolton looked to tap it to his own advantage. Murphy reads right there, seen over by Boston, throwing 35 out from Freo's goal. Josh Tracy, by the way, with that goal, becomes the first Docker since Hayden Ballantyne in 2014 to string 4 matches in a row with 3 goals plus. 3 goals plus. Quite a remarkable performance for Josh Tracy. Well, spun in again. Nankervis against Voss had the more telling tap. Tigers have got numbers around it. Can't get rid of it though. Bolton throws it on the boot. Nankervis is back there in the left back pocket. Boston will fend, trying to get it away. Brown kicks it beyond defensive 50 towards left half back. That's nicely done, and Blight takes the mark for Richmond.
He gives it off to the run there of Banks, who kicks around the wing. Bouncing ball onto it quickly is Sonzi. Handball to Lynch. Lynch kicks the Tigers inside 50. Low down Campbell picks it up. Free kick Clark.
Interesting, Jacob Blight starting forward. Played majority of his career as a defender at Peel Thunder and at Richmond.
Made the big change in the off-season, went from number 51 down to 46.
Ticking upwards. We'll get to one eventually.
Kick from Clark to Draper, who chips it over the top. Away towards Sharp. Half-back flank here for the Dockers. Nick Malthouse, Peter Bell, your experts, gather round on ABC Sport. And Sharp kicks around the wing, looking for a marker. Broad shoved into the pack by Bolton, and the umpire saw it. Free kick will go the way of Broad on Richmond's half-back flank. Great to have you with us. Scores level through 14 minutes in this opening term.
Former teammate of yours, Brad Wirra, would have said there's a lot of heavy numbers out there for the Tigers. Peter Bell
did have it
with all their kids.
Did have it explained to me that sometimes it depends on the structure of the locker room, so 5 numbers can be a big advance.
Towards left half back.
Reading too many books, Ben.
I think you have. Nicely worked from Blight. Beyond the defensive 50. We'll go thumping kick down towards left half forward. Seen over the boundary line for a throw in front of the scoreboard here. Barossa Park in Lyndoch. Crowd about 4 to 5 back from the fence in the standing room. Sort of from halfway around centre wing to the right of our broadcast position. For the boundary umpire to unfurl. He's disappeared in front of the Richmond fans there. Spun back in. No one contests it. Boss takes it cleanly. Kicks straight towards Brown. Couldn't mark. Switkowski for the Dockers, put his head over the football. Emerges out the back. Taranto tackled to ground. And the Tiger will be the last person to touch it. Voss got him. Umpire says we'll have this. Just forward of centre wing. Outer side of the ground. For the Tigers. Throwing up again. Voss does the ruck work for the Dockers. Goes out after it as well. Gets it. Got a hand pass away to Reid. Hard up against the boundary. Heads towards Tracy, who marks it right half forward. He'll bring it towards centre half forward. Measures the kick to Switkowski. Marks just inside the top of the 50-metre mark.
I don't know about you, Clint, but I reckon their kicking from yesterday is a lot deeper today, going right to left of the screen. So I don't know whether the wind is as strong as yesterday.
Certainly doesn't appear it, having a look at the flags. They're fluttering. Head downstairs in just a moment. There's a shot about to take place on goal, I think, from Switkowski. He's going to give it as much as he can towards the top of the goal square, going up and punched through. White got his fist to it, saw it through for a rush behind. Let's head downstairs. Steve Murphy's on the boundary.
I can confirm there is little or no breeze, and in fact it feels like it's pretty humid at the moment too.
Short kick into the pocket, mark taken by a trainer. Hard up against the boundary line. Fremantle fans might remember back in 1995, round 1, Freo's first ever game against Richmond, as trainer kicks up to the wing, and here is Jonty Fall. On debut, he marks on half-back, whacks a kick up to half-forward. Looking for a marker down there, but Brennan Cox, too big and strong, outpoints Lynch, marks defensively for Freo. Bites off the kick into the middle, poor kick, cold turnover, Floston takes it, stabs it short, mark taken by Campbell. Or Sonzi, rather.
Really poor turnover from Brennan Cox. That wasn't even close to his teammates' advantage.
Not only close, you work on the theory, if you make a mistake, you can gather the ball. Not put it beautifully floated to your opponent, sitting 5 yards behind him.
Hit him on the chest, didn't he?
Yep.
So the man on the mark, right on the arc of 50. Well, Sonzi doesn't mind this. Thinks he's a chance as he veers out to the right. His drop punt is pretty good. It's there. And Sonzi slots it from 53, and Richmond lead by 5 points. 4-1-25 plays 3-2-20. 18 minutes played in this opening stanza. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
Well, a great contested mark opposed to Tom Lynch, who's a fierce competitor, and Brennan Cox had 2 options, and he split the difference directly to the Richmond player. Lost and he couldn't believe his luck, and Sonsi converts from well outside 50, so maybe a bit of breeze there, but great start for the Tigers.
Yeah, you wouldn't know the difference, Belly. Right now, it's evenly balanced. You've got a key forward for Fremantle who clearly is, I'll call it a mismatch because he really is dominating. But outside of that, the midfield seems to be well served by both sides. The disappointing thing for Fremantle, if you're a Fremantle supporter, is when the ball goes into Richmond's forward line, they have every chance of scoring. There's outside of a couple of marks, ground balls are really being sorting them out.
Blight won it down. Dow got it. Hand pass. Intercepted, though, by Sarong. Did well to give it on to Bolton, the former Tiger. Kicks inside the attacking 50. No mark taken. Tracy at front position. Spilled down for the Tigers. Breaking through Miller. Shrugged the tackler. Switkowski certainly had the size and weight advantage. Kicked in the direction of McIntosh on the commentary wing. He'll kick across half forward. Can't quite find a teammate. Pearce goes there to spoil. Draper coming the other way. Got a hand pass away to a fellow Docker in Chapman. Forced to go back by a hand to Ryan. And Ryan will steady, sending it to Cox, who marks deep in the right back pocket. Tigers still lead by 5 points. 19 gone in the first. Gather round on ABC Sport.
To your point, Mick, 8 inside 50s for 4 goals for Richmond.
Yep. And they're a young side doing it. I know Lynch is a senior player, but they've been very impressive.
Richmond win it back on the wing. Hopper emerging with the football. Handball to Dow. Back to Hopper. Off to Vlosten. In a little cul-de-sac. Shovels out a handball. Allows the Dockers in. Banfield picks it up. Back in possession, Freo. Sharp. Off to Sarong. Sarong's kick smothered. Bouncing ball gathered by Short. Sarong crunches in. Big tackle coming again, Caleb. And a ball up. Attacking point of the square. Richmond lead by 5 points. That's Freo's attacking point of the square. Who played 20 minutes in the opening term.
Restart, one down by Young. First game since he fractured his leg last season. He's had some issues on the way through. Hamstring wise, kick inside forward 50 and dealt with by Broad, who sends it spiralling his fist over the boundary line for a throw-in. About 48 out from the Dockers attacking goal. They're going to the left of our broadcast position. It's an under end of Lindog Park. Thrown back in. Front position was Voss. Got it for the Dockers. Won it down. Ralph Smith went to ground. Was he infringed? No. Umpire says we'll ball it in again. He might have been held off the contest for a moment, but instead, the boundary umpire goes to collect the Sherrin.
Actually, second ruck. Jacob Blight called forward before, but he's performing the second ruck role.
Voss goes in front of Blight. Got hands to it, won it down, came to Banfield, now to Reid from the right forward pocket, snapped around the body just across the face. He misses to the left-hand side, another behind of the Dockers. They move to be 3-3-21. The Tigers are 4-1-25, 21 gone in the opening term. Gather round on ABC Sport.
Short taking the kick in, goes for a little gallop, and then, as he always does, goes long, up towards the logo, bouncing ball. Draper gathers it, back feeds a handball, goes back to Warner. He doesn't like anything in front of him, so retreats. Back to D50 and the mark taken by Pearce, and the Dockers will recycle it. Out along the eastern wing, here's Sharp. Going for a run, he'll kick around that wing, looking for a target. Shoots on Shea! Up he goes, not quite. And
put a block,
got,
a Shepherd out of the contest.
Boston.
It's an interesting call.
Shepherd Woo. Going for the ball.
So Bolton will kick into the pocket, and over the head of his targets down there, out of play it goes. Steve Murphy on the boundary.
Looked like the run just came out to Josh Tracy then to see if he wanted to come off, and he was not keen. Probably not surprisingly, given how good a quarter he's had so far.
It is warm though. Expecting a top of 33 today. It was pushing above 29 just before the start of the game. As Broad goes on a little trundle and then kicks for the Tigers towards right half back. Rising is Chapman up against Vlosten. It's off his hands and over for a throw-in. Right half back for the Tigers. They lead by 4 points. 22 and a half gone in this opening term. Some clouds above us today. Bright sunshine though. At this point in time in the opening term. Nankervis against Voss, and Nankervis won it down. O'Meara lurked, couldn't quite get to it. Taken by Johnson. He's tackled to ground by Nankervis. The ball up again. No, they've spotted a free kick.
No, it was Holman ball, and I agree with that. He took it and tried. No attempt to break the contact.
So Nankervis looked to move it on short. The kick is towards right half forward. Comes from the boot of Brown, who turns it over. It's Brennan Cox with it. He's at left half back for the Dockers.
Good mark, and he reads the play so well. Just his disposal now.
Cox kicks to a contest around the wing, spills out to Hopper, who dives on top of it, wins the footy for Richmond on the wing, gives a handball out to Nankervis, wrapped up, gang tackled there.
He rediscovered his intercept marking last week against the Bulldogs, Brennan Cox, and he's taken a couple today, turned one over as well, but that was a better, safer kick.
Richmond leading by 4 points late in the first term. Darcy down for Young, who gets it out to Switkowski. Freo on the move, kicks inside 50, and Tracy again. He's on fire in this opening term. The big kahuna is everywhere.
Well, they've got to sort out the front at stoppage, which Fremantle were able to do then, because there's not much Ben Miller can do. But Adam Uzo will also be thinking, Nick, maybe it could be a change in a 4 1/4.
Yep.
Jacob Blight's played on Tracy before. You want to back your player in, but 4 speaks for itself if Tracy is to kick this one.
Well, I would also I'll wait for him to have a shot.
We saw 4 1/4 on Thursday night from Darcy Fogarty. Tracy's drop punt from 45 is out to the right. With a heat check. Not quite there for 4 1/4. Richmond by 3 points, 24 play.
Tigers from Broad moved into the right back pocket of Vlosten, who had the pressure came from Frederick. Able to knock it away. Spoil from Frederick from Vlosten's kick, and it's over the boundary line for a throw-in.
I'd really consider an extra defender playing 5 yards in front of him and just drop off one of the forwards, because they're so conscious of that lead and kicking it to him.
Both rucks missed it. Switkowski got there, shoveled it back to no one in particular. It's been locked in again. Young diving on top of Vlosten, who's at the bottom of that pack. A ball up, still inside Freo's forward 50. Tigers lead by 3, late stages of the opening quarter. And Curvis got it down. Sarong went straight into Hopper, was able to drag him down.
Well, that's a great tackle.
He had all the momentum, Sarong,
absolutely.
But Hopper was really strong and nailed him.
That was sensational from Hopper. Sarong absolutely took him on, had the arm out for the fend. Hopper got him. Great tackle from the Tiger. Moves it short to McIntosh. He'll switch play. Goes out towards Broad, who marks just beyond his defensive 50 at left half back. Still the Tigers by 3 points, 26 gone in the first.
Broad moves it short and across to Trainer. Half-back flank here for Richmond. He'll kick up towards the wing. His kick is a good one for Shaw. Very wide out on that eastern side of the ground in front of the vineyards that sprawl over the rolling hills. Goes back to Brown.
Oh, umpire's down.
What happened to the umpire? Good run into the umpire is very sore in back players. Brown goes for a gallop, kicks from half back to half forward. Chapman can't take the mark. Ball hits the deck. Morris Rioli spin and pick up. Gets a handball away. Back into congestion and Freo there. Johnson. He makes it his. Handball for Young. He's a smooth mover. He'll kick inside 50. Nobody there for the Dockers. Ball tumbles out towards the half-back flank for Richmond. And Broad's there to mop it up. He gathers and gives it off to Shaw.
Moves it short to Taranto. Still inside defensive 50. They hand it away. Switch play here. Short. Now towards Vlosten at right half-back. Stabs the pass. Drilling it into the chest of McIntosh. Just shy of the logo. Commentary wing. Gets the kick away before he was tackled by Banfield. Kicks towards right half forward. Going up. Ryan in front of the contest. And punches it double-fisted over the boundary line for a throw-in. Right half forward for the Tigers.
Early possession winners for the Tigers. Hopper 8, Boston 7, and for Fremantle Bolton with 8 and Josh Tracy 6 along with 3 goals.
Umpire running backwards just got collected coming the other way by Jaden Short. The reason he went down from the restart. Back into play, came to Hopper, tackled immediately by Brayshaw. Ball up, still at right half forward for Richmond.
Do they get in trouble for that? Umpire backed into it and then we'll talk about it quarter time.
Darcy got it down, swept the hand pass forward. Reed couldn't pick it up first time. Pressure came the other way. Sonsi did well. Got it to McIntosh. He was under pressure. Hand pass hit the deck. Donkers have numbers there. Swung down. Brayshaw wrapped up Trainer. They're going to have a ball up again.
He's come from the ground, that umpire. So the emergency umpire is out there at the moment.
Darcy wins the restart. Tapped it back straight to Brayshaw. Floats a kick deep inside the forward 50 for the Dockers. Front position was Broad. Got it down. Taken though by Young. Kicks high up into the air with the left. It's going to land almost with snow on it, and Tracy underneath it couldn't mark. Good defensive effort at the back by the Tigers. They got themselves in the right position.
2v1.
And it's going to be Brown who marks just in front of his goal square.
So it's Paul Rebashini. He's the umpire who's come off. There isn't in fact an emergency umpire out there. That's the boundary umpire. So they're going with the 3-man system at the moment. Ray Chamberlain did tell me a couple of weeks ago that if an umpire goes down, they revert to the 3-man weave. As Luke Ryan comes infield to Clark for the Dockers, kicks to the bullseye, misses O'Meara. Chapman mops up, kicks into the attacking pocket for the Dockers. Bouncing ball, and Trainer can't quite run it in. Forward 50 stoppage coming up for the Dockers.
The 3-man weave.
Wow, that 3-man umpiring system.
No, I liked it. I thought it was good.
The 3-man weave, the old training drill, Billy. You would have done a bit of that.
From your basketball days, Ben?
Yep. confused me. It was a little complicated.
You prefer the one-man weave?
Correct. Throwing in the pocket, one down by Darcy and holding the ball. That is a quick call. Murphy Reid getting onto Taranto, I think, who had it briefly. In fact, looks like it might have been Trainer who was briefly dispossessed, and that is a hot whistle.
Former teammates for Vic Metro last year with their memorable victory in the Under-18 Championships.
Murphy Reid wastes no time and hooks it through. As nonchalant as you would like. And Fremantle swing the lead on that Murphy Reid goal. 4-4-28 plays 4-1-25, 29 minutes into the opening term. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
Smart play from Reid, who we know is a really intelligent player. And Trainer, did he have a moment? Or it was stiff, wasn't it? Just wasn't able to dispose of the ball, but
I want to see it. No, I just
he didn't have much of a chance, did he?
Well, they're really hot on some. No, I reckon when you turn your body, you're gone. So,
you comfortable with that one?
I am comfortable because he took the ball, turned his body.
Tried to do a spin.
In that time, you've got to dispose of it correctly. No, and learn a lesson. Don't do that inside the front 50. You're better off just laying your boot into it, clear it out, let them bring it back if you have to.
The argument would be because he spun, he could have got rid of the football, so that's his prior. From the restart, the Tigers win it down. McIntosh was able to work it out. Hopper now with it to Ralph Smith. Marking the logo, commentary wing. Name so good. So first and last name in a surname. Ralph Smith, here he goes. Towards right half forward for the Tigers. Big punch again up over the side. Clark attacked the football. Lynch went for it. He hit the deck as the football hit the boundary line. It's over for a throw-in. Right half forward for Richmond.
It's going to be a physical contest, that one, isn't it? Tom Lynch and Alex Pearce. Got some help there. Pearce from his colleague Jordan Clark with a big spoil over the top.
And he spun back into play. Terrific crowd in Rossa Park at Lindock. They're in gather round. And Curvis got it down for the Tigers. Here is Ralph Smith emerging with it. Got a hand pass away. Bounces into the right forward pocket and taken over the boundary line. Will be another throw-in. Campbell hit the football at pace. Had no opportunity to just drag it in. Happy to see another throw-in.
Plus 16 for disposals. The Tigers in this quarter to this point.
60 out from their attacking goal, Richmond. To the Lindock end, to the right of our broadcast position they're going. Darcy won it down. O'Meara emerges with it. Kicks towards commentary wing and the ball will tumble across the boundary line. No chance of either player getting there. Voss was closest. It's a throw-in right beneath us, Benny Cameron.
Do you want to say, there's the thing about Darcy. Now, he has moved Dan Curvis, who's a monster, off the ball to get that ball in the right position to clear it. He's outstanding, Darcy.
Darcy gets to the front, brings it down. Getting in there though, Hopper, handball away to Nankervis, to Ralph Smith to Short. Richmond possession, McIntosh back to Ralph Smith, back to Short. They work it out well with the handball triangle. Now they get it moving forward, back to Hopper, and now off to Ross. Coming across Frederick, up to half forward. Short gets it on the boot. Floats a kick towards full forward, looking for a marker. Off the hands of the pack, and it's rushed through eventually. Chapman left it behind on the goal line, and having to come in with Sharp to just swat it through and clear the danger. So it brings it back to a 2-point game the way the Dockers closing in on quarter time. Gather round on ABC Sport.
Really calm handball chain there from the Tigers. Had a really good look at goal.
Here's Warner. That's a long kick in. Darcy couldn't get to it though. It certainly made his opponent earn it. It'll clip across the back of the head for Trainer, who sends it back from whence it came. Towards full forward. Pearce went up, tapped it down. Draper for the Dockers to Chapman. Hand passes to four Dockers in the left back pocket. It came to Brayshaw. He disposed of it to Clark as the siren sounded for quarter time. And Fremantle will take a 2-point advantage into the first break. Josh Tracy with 3 goals, who continues to underline himself as Fremantle's long-awaited answer to Matthew Pavlich. Only Pavlich has kicked more goals in consecutive matches in Fremantle's history than Josh Tracy has. He's got 3. Murphy Reid has 1. While for the Tigers, also plenty to like about what they've been able to do. Camden McIntosh with 1. Rioli's got a couple. And Sonsi with the other. It's quarter time. Fremantle lead by 2 points. 4-4-28 to Richmond. 4-2-26. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and on the ABC Listen app. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
What matters to you this election?
ABC News wants to make sure that the politicians hear your concerns and questions.
Head to abc.net.au/Australia Votes to have your say.
Australia Votes. Your vote, your say.
Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast with Premiership coach Paul Roos. Alongside Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron and Poppy Penny. ABC AFL Daily Podcast. It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app. On ABC Sport, this is the 2025 AFL Gather Round, live from South Australia.
Opening clearance going the way of the Tigers. McIntosh kicks it inside 50. Falk brings it down, and Morris Rioli goes. Wearing the number made famous by his dad for the first time. He kicks the first goal in the game. Miller with the kicking, goes right up the middle, swooping on it. Morris Rioli, he's loving his dad's number, gives it to Jack Ross, off to McIntosh, runs inside 50 and kicks it. Richmond go coast to coast.
Hopper, though, broke a tackle, handed it off to Nankervis for the Tigers. Sweeping hand pass to Taranto. Gets a kick around the body, inside forward, 50, Rioli. Up again and marking. Rioli kick is on its way. It's floating out to the right, but it sneaks in the right hand upright.
Brayshaw pinches it, his handball into the muck, picked up by Bolton. Showtime handball, back to Showtime Shea. Flying kick inside 50. Tracy again. He's got it. He's going to kick for his third. 45-degree angle, but only 15 metres out. He's going to snap, and it is triple Tracy to begin this game for the Dockers.
This is the 2025 AFL Gather Round on ABC Sport.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Speaking of triples, 3 games to wrap up Gather Round in Adelaide, or we're in the Barossa. Coming up, St Kilda up against GWS, then Port Adelaide will take on the Hawks. Here at Barossa Park in Lyndoch, Fremantle lead by 2 points ahead of our experts, Hall of Famers Michael Malthouse and Peter Bell. Let's head downstairs. Steve Murphy's on the boundary. Steve?
Yeah, guys, as they did yesterday, both teams yesterday did the same thing, going off at quarter time, making use of this extra 2 minutes they have because of the heat. And an injury update, but not on the players. On an umpire, Paul Rebishini, as you heard earlier there, collected short. He apparently will be okay, so we're back to the 4-umpire system from now on.
Good on you, Steve. Mick, Belly, your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty even first quarter, really. Richmond had a lot more of the footy, but Fremantle took it inside 50 an extra 7 times opposed to the Tigers. Jacob Hopper's had a big quarter with a number of clearances to go with his 11 disposals, and Josh Tracy looking really dangerous with the 3 goals and had a shot for a 4th that missed. Just wanted to make the point also, every game, competitive game that Fremantle have played this year, all the way back to the Indigenous All-Stars, the heat policy has been in place. So you wonder if that's going to catch up with Fremantle at any stage. Looks to be really taxing conditions out there, Nick.
Oh, it certainly does, Bill. I guess from the Western Australian point of view, the training is done in relative heat, so the body probably adjusts a little bit better, but there is an accumulative effect at some stage it's got to get you. I look at the Richmond side, and I'm really buoyed by having been at the Tigers for a number of years, that their young players are handling it generally pretty well. There's a couple that are getting stitched up, but they're on the right track. Their disposal today, compared to what I watched with Essendon and Melbourne last night, is cheese and chalk. So it shows you, and Fremantle bringing the heat, so that to me is a great sign for Richard. The good signs for Fremantle, it's saying to me that Young's first game back, I think he's so important to the side. Darcy, without a doubt. I've always said that Darcy is one of the premier ruckmen in the competition. He should be done in short bursts, giving it his first game.
First game back, and only just the one waffle game.
So he needs to be really looked after. Nankervis will stay in the ruck for probably 80% of the time. I've been impressed in both sides, quite frankly. I think that the score line of 8 shots to 4, 8 shots to 6. The worrying thing would be for Fremantle is that they're not getting a lot of the football. And against the sides that are a bit more experienced, they've got the ball 80 times to this day, Richmond 103. But by halfway through that quarter, they started to make sure that Richmond's football that was going to the forward line was under pressure, which earlier it was just really haphazard and they didn't clear the ball properly. So there's some really good signs by Fremantle. Tracy is a man mountain and will worry nearly any fullback in the competition. Going forward, like most good sides, someone else has to stand up next to him. because I noticed at Richmond, I said earlier that I would be double teaming. I noticed there was one contest at the end, you call it, I think, Clint, where the ball was marked over the back because the front player squeezed him up, the full forward leant in on him and of course left it over the back for the Richmond player to take the mark. If I was in Uze's position, I'd be dropping a player off and playing in front of him because he seems to be the only go-to player. If Fremantle can get a secondary go-to, you cause all sorts of damage.
Yeah, so that'll be on Amos, that'll be on Frederick, it'll be on Voss as well.
Yes, not so much the smalls. I think it's got to be. That's where Amos, for all the great stuff that we've seen him do in the past, he seems to be a player that hasn't got better. Fremantle have got a bloke over the river used to play for me called Peter Simic. If he is not fundamentally brilliant at 8 to 10 steps, left foot shot for goal, you've got to get a system into this place. Now, he hasn't had the football. Well, he's hardly had the football. But what you've got to do is when you look at these players and you've got stars around you, utilise these people that can help this game. Because when you look at, say, Cameron and Hawkins, and you look at Collingwood have got multiples, Brisbane had two big, tall players coming out of their goal square. Fremantle, to go the next step, have to be a threat through these two tall players.
I couldn't work out why Mick got so snarky with me when I mentioned about Jacob Blight moving from number 51 to 46. But I looked at Mick's record and I realised that he changed his number 3 times while at Richmond, from 22 to 28 and then to number 7. So it makes sense now, Mick.
So you went out and then back in?
So you clearly don't do your homework. Because at St Kilda...
Yeah, she wore number 22, I know.
44.
Yep.
37.
32. 22.
What was I at Richmond?
22 in year 1, then he went to 28.
Can't believe I was 22.
Then he went to 7.
I mustn't have got a kick because I can't remember ever wearing 22. So I reckon the records are wrong.
You reckon the records are wrong?
Yeah.
That would make sense because I can't... It's small change, but why you would have changed out of the number you wore at St Kilda.
But and also, when do players go outwards with numbers? That never happens.
Yeah, but why would he be sitting here at quarter time in a very good game of football trying to look up to find out what number I wore?
Because he's trying to poke the bear. That's what he's doing. He's poking the bear.
With stumpy things like that, he's got every chance. Like he's going to poke me, all right. Because he doesn't have any knuckles. His fingers just come straight out of the first joint and they just one little digit.
I think we've got to lay off Ben. He's commentating under extreme duress today with a bad case of chafe. Mick, we've been doing a lot of walking through the Barossa Valley. He's in extraordinary pain at the moment.
Now, Belly, I've got to say this to you. You talk about the chafe, right? We went out last night to have dinner. He brings a plastic bag with his powder and a little rag in it so he could dabble his thighs.
It's no laughing matter.
Well, it's most embarrassing that walking with a 71-year-old has taken me down with injury, unfortunately.
You mean waddling with a 71-year-old has taken you down with injury? I admire all of you for walking. That's what cars are invented for driving around from these places. Second term about to start. Glad you could be with us. By the way, if you want to send us a message, 0437 774 774. From the bounce of the football, Nankervis wins it down for the Tigers. Hand pass coming away here for the Dockers. They're able to work it forward again, or backwards rather, as on the charge backwards was Clark. Shared it with Sarong. Clark arches the back, gets away from his opponent, kicks in the direction of Brayshaw, stretches but can't mark. Coming the other way, Ross hands it off. Chance for Short to find a teammate. Does so. Kicks towards the outer side. Here is Ross again. Sweeping a hand pass forward to Taranto. Puts the Tigers into the right forward pocket. Pearce stood strong. You would have heard Lynch coming. Lynch made contact in the contest, but Pearce was there to grab the football for the Dockers. And their captain goes back to take his kick deep in the left back pocket. Still the Dockers by 2 points, opening minute of the second term.
Long kick from Pearce up towards the wing, launching out at Voss, straight through his hands, picked up by Richmond for McIntosh, or by McIntosh. Handball back to Vlosten, back to Short, back to the logo, Trezise. His kick, precise, out towards Ralph Smith. Very close to the boundary line, high half forward.
It was a costly miss from Jordan Clark to Andy Brayshaw a couple of plays back. Really has to hit that target.
Ralph Smith looks into the pocket, Fall launches at the ball, comes down in front. Dockers have the numbers. Brayshaw's handball knocked down, comes back to Fall. He gets it on the boot, dribbles it forward. Cox there for Freo. Gets rid of it to Brayshaw. Off to Clark, handball to O'Meara and a clearing kick as he exits D50 and Voss low down, dives to mark.
Did well, collected it right up against the turf. He'll climb up off the deck. He's at left half back for Fremantle. Assesses what's in front of him.
Some of the numbers to quarter time. +7 inside 50s, the Dockers. +8 clearances.
Kickers towards left half forward. There's no mark taken. Broad will go back. Tresice picks it up. Sends it right back to Miller. Has to gather on the bounce. He's under a bit of pressure. Has to measure his kick towards full back. Under real strife back there short. Spun out of danger. Did really well. Found Miller again. Goes on a run from the right back pocket. Clearing kick towards centre wing. Outer side of the ground. Pearce was up. Couldn't mark. Got it a second time. Tried to tap it forward. Kept in play here by Taranto. They sweep it forward to Ralph Smith. Hand pass back inboard. Misses his target. Pearce was there. Boston tackles him. Got it out the side.
Throw,
I reckon he's going to say it's a throw.
Against Alex Pearce. Good tackle from the Tigers.
It was a good tackle. Pearce, for a moment, thought, beauty, how have I ended up with this? But it'll come back to Boston. He'll stand right in front of the electronic scoreboard between centre wing and right half back for the Tigers. Barossa Valley Way side of the ground. As you can hear the helicopters buzzing around us here at Lindon.
Loston kicking around the wing looking for Ralph Smith. There was a shove, free kick going the way of the Tiger. Right beneath those temporary grandstands. He looks quickly into the pocket, leading out Lynch. He's got it 40 out, tight angle, 10 metres in from the boundary line.
Just an ability to execute skills, a bit better than Fremantle at the moment. Richmond, I mentioned the Jordan Clark turnover. Seems early in this second quarter that Richmond are just handling and executing the ball just a little bit better than Fremantle.
Tom Lynch, described by Adam Uze as the godfather of this forward line, with all of the young kids around him. He trots in. His drop punt is pretty good from the moment it leaves the boot. Tiger Tommy, he kicks the goal and swings the lead again. Richmond claw it back, 5-2-32, plays 4-4-28, 3.5 into the second. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport from the Barossa.
It's an enthralling contest, and I want to go back to Jaden Short, who under frontal pressure from Shea Bolton managed to find a composed mark, and that enabled Richmond to transfer the ball from deep within their 50 all the way down to the other end of the oval for a Tom Lynch score.
Yeah, Lynch is going to find it hard today. I rate Pearce has been picking him up, I think, for most of the time. Yeah, Pearce is a premier key back. In fact, he's probably his side. If you had a full back, I'd almost say a fit Pearce would be my number one player for the fullback. There's some really good fullbacks around, but he's so dour, he gives nothing away. So Lynch will, Lynch at the moment, no, Lynch has been picked up by someone else.
Might be Brennan Cox at the moment, but has spent a lot of time on Pearce as well.
Yes, he has.
The restart, Darcy, I reckon, got the telling tap, but it went down to Dow. Kicks around the body for the Tigers. Bounced over the top of Green. Met quickly by Chapman. Ralph Smith's got him. Somehow Chapman got a hand pass out, but it's going to be a free kick. Holding the ball.
That is not a free kick. He picked it up and got grabbed straight away. He had absolutely no prior.
Now Smith goes short. Happy to take it nonetheless and finds Taranto.
Liking the pressure from the Tigers.
Yes, it's good, isn't it? They're clean too, Belly.
Yep.
Here comes Taranto again. Kicking into the right forward pocket. Massive pack up. Offhand. Spills down. The shot at goal is sensational. Oh, Steely Green. He provides an absolute golden goal. That was incredible. Hard up against the boundary. He's 35 or more out from goal. He was almost in about the third row of the grandstand. And somehow he has conjured up something that will be one of the contenders for goal of the year.
Excellent contest from Jacob Blight and poor management from Heath Chapman. Green just ran into the fronted square position, the classic fronted square position. Chapman had a chance to put body on him to interrupt his run, but he didn't, and he paid the price. Great goal.
And I haven't seen anyone celebrate like that since Mick Malthouse saw the Tawny Port room at the winery we were at yesterday.
Well, I've got to say,
that was terrific. By the way, before we hear from you, Mick, better give you the score. It's the Tigers 6-2-38 to Fremantle 4-4-28. 6 gone in the second.
What about the people in the first row? How happy were they to give him the old high five? It was fantastic. This is country football revisited. I reckon the stands if you're watching TV and listen to us, the stands are only 2/3 full, but most of them have left the stands to come and stand in front of the fence.
It's like James Hird after the goal against West Coast in the mid-2000s. Nankervis a free kick out of the middle, just nurses a kick to McIntosh.
Slackers, yaks. Fremantle there.
Between the edge of the square and the arc, he kicks to full forward. Lynch goes up, hands to it, Cox. halves the contest, then wins it at ground level. Handball away to Sharp. Warner's kick smothered. Richmond have ratcheted up the pressure. There is zero doubt about that. And a throw-in coming in the forward 50 here for the Tigers.
So I just say that centre bounce, Vancouver's grabbed it and found McIntosh. All of Fremantle mids were nowhere near him. So that is horrendous play defensively.
5 inside 50s to zip to start this second term as big name Curvis lays a tackle after winning the tap on Hayden Young, and it's a little bit of extra mayo on it too.
Work ethic, Belly.
Yep.
Work ethic totally. That just not paying attention to detail.
One down by Darcy for the Dockers, to O'Meara, to Sharp, to Brayshaw, back to Sharp, bursting through. Kicks from centre half back towards Tracy, who'll gather, forward of the wing. Barossa Valley wayside, thumps it inside forward 50. Unable to gather it first time was Reid, still juggling with it. Got pinged holding the ball. The Tigers wanted to take the advantage. They'll come back though. Good pressure coming. Cease was able to get him. He has it deep in the right back pocket. He'll move it short across the face of goal. Chance here to go forward again. Through short. Now to Broad. Still between fullback and centre half back. And he'll trot back to see what's in front of him. The Tigers lead by 10. 8 gone in the second term.
Broad goes short to McIntosh. Gather round on ABC Sport, and Richmond taking it right up to the Dockers. Richmond by 10 points. McIntosh driving ball out to the wing. 4 launches at the footy, then gets it off hands. Gets a quick kick forward. Bouncing ball in the middle of the ground. Attacking it is Darcy for the Dockers. He falls on top of it. That's between his legs, and the umpire will say, let me ball it up. Worth mentioning umpire Rebashini back out there for this second term.
The first time for a number of years Darcy hasn't got a knee bandage, which hopefully is a really good sign for him and Fremantle.
Looks lean as well, wins the tap, but sharked by Dow, gives it off to Brown, kicks Richmond to half forward. Green with the spin, off to Ross, flying shot, not quite, just misses right. It is all yellow and black at the moment. Inside 50s, 7-1. To begin this second term. Gather round on ABC Sport.
They double the possession, Richmond, opposed to Fremantle in this quarter.
Pearce for the Dockers from the right back pocket, kicks towards the commentary wing. He won it down, but they're able to steal it away again here, the Tigers. Slick play from Banks, looking to move it on again. Then ping for holding the ball. That was a little bit depressing from Hopper. Just couldn't get rid of it before he was tackled by Brayshaw, who's got it at right half back for the Dockers. He steps to the right. Thought about going short to Warner. That's no longer on. Instead he'll go on a bit of a run himself and then kick towards right half forward. Darcy in front of Nankervis. No one could mark. Spills out the back. Here's a chance for Bolton. He scoops it up. Steps one. Got a hand pass away to Frederick. Throws it on the boot and sends it through for a major. Frederick from just in front of the top of his attacking goal square. Bolton did well to hit it at pace, knew he was in stride, saw his teammate, and Frederick delivers a goal. Fremantle needed that. They bring the margin back to just what is now at the 9-minute mark of the second term. 5 points. Richmond is 6-3-39. Fremantle 5-4-34. Gather round on ABC Sport. Clint Wilton alongside Ben Cameron in commentary. Our experts, Hall of Famers, Michael Malthouse and Peter Bell.
Well, it was really clever play from Bailey Banfield, who just got a fist on the ball and got it forward. And Shea Bolton, the value of being able to break a tackle, he's very, very difficult to tackle, and he got through a Ben Miller attempt there to make the easiest of goals for Frederick. Fremantle desperately needed that goal because it's all been Richmond in this quarter.
3 goals last week for Fast Freddy. In the coaches' votes with just 1. Darcy wins the tap. Out the front go the Dockers. Johnson buffeted off it though by Dow. The other's half-back for Richmond. Handball to Hopper, who's been industrious. He gets it off to Nankervis, and they tackle him. Frederick and Darcy, and a ball up centre half forward here for the Dockers.
It's a really basic thing, but I just think in this quarter Richmond have bodylined the ball a bit better than Fremantle.
Richmond by 5. Darcy palms it down for Johnson. Can't gather first or second time. Spills out to Banfield. Off to Young. His kick is out wide and missing the target. Lateral leading Amos. Throwing coming about 48 out from the Dockers attacking goal. 6-3-39 plays 5-4-34. Richmond by 5. Sorry, mate.
That's okay. Interesting, Belly. I reckon that Darcy is starting to probably edge into now Nankervis. he seems to be fresher when he comes on, and his delivery to the ground player has been outstanding.
Darcy got it down, went straight to Ralph Smith, though, of the Tigers, handed it off to Nan Curvis, kicks towards the outer wing. Cox flew and attacked the football, punching it towards the boundary line. Sharp was able to keep it in play. Back to Cox by a hand, tackled immediately, got a hand pass out. There's Tigers everywhere. They're able to sweep it forward. Came from Sonsi. They'll work it long towards right half forward from Banks. Ball hits the deck. Lynch hand passes it on. Here is the debutant in fall. Kicks towards goal. It bounces along the ground, and O'Meara was back there to mop up for the Dockers. Took 2 bounces, ran towards right back pocket, kicks towards centre wing. Banfield tapped it to his own advantage. He's got 3 Tigers to beat. Umpire says it'll come back though. Banfield will have it with a free kick on the logo, commentary side of the ground. Richmond by 5 points. We've gone 12 and a bit minutes into the second term.
Darcy opposed to Nankervis, deep in the forward line.
Banfield on his left. Long kick to full forward. Up they go, Amos. Couldn't get a hand on it. Out the back. Spills down for Banks. Last line of defence here for Richmond. Gets rid of it. The quick kick. Here's a good one coming from Trainer to Ralph Smith. And then Ralph Smith goes laterally infield, and Hopper marks. Still inside the defensive arc. He pokes a kick to the run of Trainer. Trainer then looks further out wide. Has Green out there. Kicked a remarkable goal already. Bouncing ball. Parries it to himself. Takes on Chapman. Chapman doesn't give up. Worries him out of it and wins the footy. Well done by the Freo defender. He kicks into the middle of the ground.
Well, Darcy marked and then got clattered into by Nankervis. The mark was paid. Sarong picked it up, played on, sent it inside forward 50. It comes to Frederick in the right forward pocket. He's under genuine pressure. It's rushed or knocked across the line. Good work from Vlosten. Made sure that Frederick didn't have the opportunity to do anything more with it. There's late solid contact there. Darcy, actually a 50. Certainly marked the football before Nankervis made contact in the middle of the ground. It's in the right forward pocket with the throw in for the Dockers. Nankervis got it down. Hand pass comes out to Hopper. They look to share it away through Taranto. Kick now comes beyond defensive 50 and it works its way to Ralph Smith, who's got it at left half back.
That's what I like about the Tigers at the moment. Even though they're a young side, they're not panicking under pressure. They find the right target.
Kicks around the wing, trying to get it, I think, to Taranto, but shot him, got a hand to it, and then has to turn tackler on Warner. Might have been looking there for Sonsi, who was coming in behind. Ball up on the wing, nevertheless. Richmond by 5 points. Darcy backhands it down for Johnson. Taken high. Free kick to the team in white today. Not able to wear their blackout gather-round jumper, the Dockers, because of a jumper clash, their stealth jumper. So in there away white. Johnson kicks to full forward. Tracy, nearly too big and too strong, gets it, tackled to ground. And a ball upcoming. 35 out from the attacking goal. Richmond by 5, quarter-hour mark. Second term gather-round on ABC Sport.
Here at Barossa Park in Lindot, 45 million spent, bringing up to AFL spec. Magnificent place to be. As Brown got a hand pass away to Sonsi for the Tigers. That's intercepted by O'Meara. Throws it on the boot, kicks back towards goal, and it's punched through for a minor score. Rush behind conceded by the Tigers. So Freo go to be 5-5-35, Richmond 6-3-39, 15 gone, second term. Clint Wilton alongside Ben Cameron in commentary. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
This quarter, 15 marks to Richmond, 2 to Fremantle. So that gives you an idea of the control that Richmond have in this game at the moment.
Not punishing at the moment, though, Belly.
Yep. 2
goals to 1. It's not really exactly working out on the scoreboard for the Tigers.
Long kick up towards the wing for Richmond. As offhands, it goes out of play eventually.
Yeah, they probably haven't got the value, have they? Because 64 disposals to 35
That's
as well.
right.
They need to convert.
What they've probably done is kept Fremantle from scoring. So that's about the extent of it. So it works both ways.
Thoughts of Richmond Premiership player Mick Malthouse and 3-time Fremantle Best and Fairest winner Peter Bell. On the ball up, neither ruck touches it, spills out to Johnson of the Dockers. McIntosh slides over the back of Voss. Handball out goes to Ross. Ross will kick Richmond quickly to half forward, looking for a marker. Chapman goes up in the pack, knocks it out wide. Flashing through, Sonsi leaves it behind and getting it Draper, and the Dockers have it through Chapman. Off to Young, off to Sarong, and he'll run through the middle of the ground.
He kicks in the direction of Bolton, sliding out to take the mark on his knees.
Still in the centre square, hands it back to Sarong, now to Young. Young goes long towards goal, that's a beauty. Hayden Young, his first game since he fractured his leg in the last game of last season. He's back in the team and making an impact for the Dockers. And Freo hit the fronts, and they do so at the 17-minute mark of the second term. 6-5-41 the Dockers, Richmond 6-3-39, Freo by 2 points. That's one of the reasons why he's so valuable, Peter Bell and Michael Malthouse.
Yeah, Fremantle's best ball movement of the day, and they found the corridor, Mick, and Hayden Young just contest to contest, hard running. Used that beautiful left boot of his, and he's excited. He's had a frustrating pre-season with a couple of hamstring injuries to go on top of that fracture late last year. It was a classy piece of play by Hayden Young and Fremantle.
So if you took yourself back to the first 4 weeks, there's a missing link. That left foot, long kicking player, gets a lot of the football, generally uses it very well. So him and Darcy coming back in the side made this side look so much different.
What a move it's been to get him into the middle at Fremantle. And the ball up, ball spits out. Johnson gets involved, gets a handball away. Picked off there by Dow. And now Richmond through Blight to McIntosh, who's lost his headband in amongst it all. Just the dome at the moment. All socket around by a few of the players. Murphy Reid picks it up. His handball for Sarong. Fremantle get the clear and kick through Sarong out to half forward. Bouncing ball here for Tracy. And he can't run it in, throwing coming.
And in case you're wondering, he has continued on when he's got the home kit on, he's got the black headband. If it's the away kit, the yellow headband, black headband.
It's sitting on the turf, I can see it. He lost it in all of the congestion.
It's a really large black caterpillar from here.
It's a long way away from where he is.
Fremantle by 2 points. We've had 2 lead changes, 18 minutes into the second.
I wonder if the trainer would come out for the headband for him. It's in the right back pocket. Thumping kick by the Tigers down the outer wing. He's in front position of a line of 6. He's able to take the mark, and he's saying that perhaps Durando should have been pinged for infringing going into the protected area. The umpire's not interested. Goes to Sarong. Kicks inside forward 50, leading out Tracy Marks.
He's the one who's really starting to influence Caleb Sarong in this quarter. That's possession number 8 for the quarter, and he's just provided some bite and clean ball handling for Fremantle, and beautiful ball use there for Tracy.
He's right in front. Tracy will put boot to ball from pretty much the top of the 50-metre arc.
How's his Batman and Robin going? How's Amos? Has he touched the football yet?
Yet to touch the footy, Mick.
Thank you.
He's standing in the goal square at the moment, Amos. Here comes Josh Tracy looking for what would be his 4th. That sails over the top of the umpire's cap. Josh Tracy has got 4 goals, and he's having a day out in the Barossa. Fremantle, they've got their 7th, 7-5-47 to Richmond 6-3-39. Gather round on ABC Sport. We've gone 19 and a half minutes into the second term.
I think Amos has got to be a bit more assertive. That's great for Tracy to get the mark and goal, but Amos seems to be rooted to the goal square too much. Get up the ground and present a bit more, break the shackles a little bit more, work it out with the other key forwards so you're having a go up the field.
Well, he's having as much impact as the goal umpire, and he's not letting it come to the ground. So, you know, but this game has been dominated by Richmond, I reckon. In this quarter, for the first 10, Fremantle have jumped right back into the slot now, and they're denying any clean ball going forward by Richmond, but they are getting enough of the football to be a real worry.
Well, there you go, Mick. Richmond kicked 2 goals in the opening 9 minutes of this term. Fremantle have kicked 3 goals unanswered in the moments since. As Brayshaw gives it to Sarong, kicks inside 50, going up, Young doesn't mark. Switkowski flashes through, doesn't pick up the footy. Murphy Reid goes in, picking it up though is Banks for Richmond. Back feeds a handball to the goal square there for Broad, who moves it to McIntosh, who's donned the sweaty Bjorn Borg headband again in the back pocket. It's more Andre Agassi, I must admit, as he kicks long up towards the wing, trying to find Steely Green. Warner there with him, wins it for the Dockers. Handball to Draper. Here's fast Freddie, can't escape him this time. Frederick goes to Warner, who goes to Ryan. He'll kick inside 50, kick charge down. Off hands, Hopper there for the Tigers, and now they try to bounce through Brown.
Brown kicks in the direction of Lynch, who's done well. Great mark in front of Alex Pearce, right beneath our broadcast position. Dumps it inside forward 50, but well read by Chapman. Was able to float in front of Campbell to take the mark defensively for the Dockers. He's back to Sharp in the left back pocket. He'll take one bounce and then a second. Now a third for Sharp as he continues to run. Heads towards centre wing, out of side. Lovely foot pass to Reid. Murphy Reid marks, will wheel around. Just shy of left half forward, puts it deep in towards the left forward pocket. They come from everywhere. Spill down to Brown. Almost broke the tackle. Got a hand pass away. Comes back again to Short. Right back to Broad in his defensive goal square. Read that well. Back to Short and just grubbers it along the ground. Not sure he meant to. Lost and tackled by Switkowski. Ball jars out. Hopper has it. He's taken by Voss. Ball up will be the call. Deep in the left forward pocket for the Fremantle Dockers, who lead 7-5-47 to Richmond 6-3-39. 22 gone in the second.
From the ball up, Taranto goes and wins the football. Gets rid of it to Trainer, cruising by. His kick a little too strong. Tumbles out in front of Jordan Clark, throwing on the wing. Our experts are the most verbose at the moment. Nick Malthouse, the coaching icon, and the three-time Fremantle best and fairest, Peter Bell.
Just look at that forward line of Richmond. It was unsteady, and right now it's got a reasonable presentation. So if they get the football, they've got someone to kick to.
Sarong has it pinched. Sonzi gives it off to Hopper. Some go forward here for Richmond. Here's Trainer poking it inside 50, looking for a target. Bouncing there for Blight. Off his chest, Ryan picks it up. Worried out of his handball. Now Chapman under the pump. Escapes Rioli. Dockers work it out from the last line, and Brayshaw, a thumping clearing kick up to the wing, out in front of Voss. And too wide. Throw-in coming on the wing. Freo by 8.
That play by Chapman, that is 2 in a row, where he marked one, intercepted one, and was able to stand up in that tackle. He's been very impressive in the last 5 minutes. He's perhaps saved Fremantle from having 2 shots against him.
They've had high hopes for him for a long time, apart from the body issues.
He's played really good 2 or 3 weeks.
And Curtis won it down, slapped forward by the Tigers. Umpire spotted a free kick here. It's coming back to Fremantle.
Brayshaw, I reckon.
It is. Wants to play on by hand immediately to Bolton. Premiership player with the Tigers. First game against his old club. Kicks inside forward 50. Young went up, couldn't mark. To tap it to his own advantage. Short gathered. Picked it up for Richmond. Swept the hand pass away. Moved by Banks towards the outer wing again. No mark there. Scooped up again by Blight. Looks to go by hand. Backward once more to Hopper. Then to Blight. Moving it to Nankervis. Hard up against the boundary. Almost ran into trouble. Got a hand pass back to Sonsi. To Blight again, to Hopper. His kick was smothered. Spilled to Brayshaw for the Dockers. Now a chance for them to surge forward through Clark. Kicking inside forward 50. Sliding out there, Amos. Good diving mark. His first touch of the football in the game. Hit that at pace. That is a good grab. He'll go back and shoot from about 48 metres out. He's slightly better than a 45-degree angle to the left.
Just an ability to be clean with the footy. Then Fremantle, both teams have had opportunities. Nick,
Richmond just coughed that one up.
Yeah,
they were all forward too. That's why Amos was able to run in a lot of space. He's gone back further than what he did in the last couple of years anyway.
Takes a few deep breaths. 6-1 so far this season. With his first kick of the football for the day. Sailing out to the left-hand side. It's missed the lot. No change to that scoreline that sees Fremantle by 8 points. Late stages of the second term here at Barossa Park in Lindop. Part of Gather Round with you on ABC Sport. Here's Ben Cameron.
The backdrop could be a postcard. The kick out of defence for Richmond is into the muck, and Freo have the numbers. O'Meara gathers the footy, gives it off to Sarong, pokes a pass into the pocket, bouncing ball for Voss. Trainer sticks his fist in and knocks it away and gets a shove from Voss for his troubles, and he's not happy about it either, Trainer.
he had the time, I reckon, Caleb Sarong to scan the 50 on the open side. He had 3 players. Voss has given away an undisciplined free kick, so that'd disappoint Justin Longmuir, but yeah, Caleb would be disappointed with that inside 50 entry.
Trainer kicks to full-back, finds Brown, who goes very wide, almost on the elbow of 50 in the boundary line. Broad's able to mark. Out of Swan Districts in the WAFL. Working as a plumber, he said he doesn't want to leave Richmond because if it wasn't for them, he'd still be on the shovel. He kicks it out of bounds on the full here. Give a man a rap. The umpire's just converging here. Yeah, the boundary umpire.
Oh, so he's called play on.
And he's
run out of bounds. That's what's happened.
Played on out of bounds. So
yeah,
the ball will come back. It'll be a throw in 40 metres around from the attacking goal for Richmond. 26 played in the second. Fremantle by 8.
Ball back into play. And Curvis got rid of his opponent. And pass away. Went to Taranto. To Ralph Smith. Spun around and handed it to Taranto. Went towards right half back. Kicks the Tigers towards centre wing. Out of side. Dockers had the numbers in the marking contest. Cox thought he'd marked a touch first from the player in front. Down to Clark. Now to Warner. Sweeping hand pass to Johnson. Shrugs one tackle. Hand pass was a bit hot for Clark. He got to gather a second time and then wrapped up beautifully, taken the ground by Ross.
That's just basic skill execution. Yep. Need for a good team. You'll be deep inside 50 right now.
And may not have hand tossed that ball either. Got the ball in with
shoulders
a kick.
out, get it in deep.
Throwing up. Tracy does the right work. Punch forward though by Nankervis. Came back to the Dockers. Clark gave it to Switkowski. Drew Steely Green to him. Then handed it off to Ryan. And Ryan from the logo commentary wing. Hand pass to O'Meara.
O'Meara looks into the pocket in the direction of Bolton. A run and jump and he marks. Glides in shape. And he takes it 25 out, 45 degree angle.
Excellent kick from Jager O'Meara. Exactly what we were talking about. Shoulders out. Got it deep inside 50 and Bolton goal side. This will be a crucial goal for Fremantle with the margin currently 8. Justin Longmuir would love to go in at half-time up 14.
But 135 games for Richmond, a dual premiership Tiger. Last time these teams met, he kicked the first goal. That was in Richmond colours. He kicks it behind here in Fremantle colours.
Didn't have much momentum through the ball then, Shane.
No. Freo by 9 points. 27 minutes into the second. Gather round on ABC Sport.
So far, the goal kickers, Josh Tracy's got 4 of them for the Dockers. Everybody else with singles so far. Ball's in the right back pocket for the Tigers. One kick beyond defensive 50. It's knocked forward out of that pack. Waiting for it is Clark. Has to backtrack for Fremantle. With the right, he'll kick back towards left half forward. Off hands again. No mark taken. An umpire spotted a free kick. It'll come back here to be taken by the Tigers and Trainer. They'll have it in the right back pocket for Richmond. Looks to move it short. This is Taranto who marks.
Richmond are breaking down across that half-forward line. That's why it keeps coming back. They're getting enough possessions there, but Dockers have really tightened up across there. But Richmond lack a number, so I've got a suspicion that one of them might be coming too far up into the play.
Moved it out towards Dow and then moved it on again to Trainer, trying to attack the football. In the other direction was Sharp, who's done well to knock it to ground. Brayshaw picked it up, handed it back to Sharp. Now to Bolton for Fremantle from left half forward. Sends it long towards goal. He's hit the left-hand goal post. A minor score. He's getting closer though, Bolton.
It was a great come forward from Luke Ryan. Affected the turnover. And just Richmond aren't able to kick their way through this Fremantle zone.
29 minutes gone in the second term. It's the Dockers by 10 points over the Tigers.
The experience from Vlosten as well. He knows that. Just sends it long out to the eastern wing, looking for a marker out there, and Blight halves the contest. Pretty happy to just punch it out. Make sure of a throw in, take a little more time off the clock. Fremantle with the momentum late in this term. Freo by 10 points. Throw in on the wing. Nankervis brings it down from the back, coming through Sarong. Halftime siren sounds. So at the main break, Fremantle will lead by 10 points. Richmond have been good. They kicked the first 2 goals of the second term, led by 10 points at that stage before Fremantle kicked the last 3 of the first half.
Having a look at the goal kickers for Fremantle, Josh Tracy with 4. The others just singles, Reid, Young and Frederick. While for Richmond, Morris Rioli kicked a couple, got them in the opening 8 minutes of the game as well. Since that time, goals to Lynch, McIntosh and Sonsi. Fremantle 7-7-49 to Richmond's 6-3-39. A couple of texts rolling in. As always, love to hear from you. 0437 774 774. Don't forget, after this game, we're off to Norwood for St Kilda and GWS. Matt Clinch and the team there, and then we'll wrap everything up at Adelaide Oval for what should be a ding-dong grudge match. Port Adelaide up against the Hawks. Aaron Bryans leading the commentary at Adelaide Oval. That is all to come on this Sunday of Gather Round here in SA. Sandy and Meriden, hi fellas, loving the call. What's the average age of both Richmond and Fremantle, please? Everyone keeps commenting on how young Richmond are. That is a good question, Sandy. We'll have to do some sums. I know Ben will get onto that for you in just a moment. Morgan and Alice in South Yarra, loving the call. Sorry about the chafe, Ben. It is tough. It is tough, the chafe.
Mick sets a cracking walking pace.
He really does.
It's brisk. It is brisk.
You're a suki lala. You stop complaining. You're fair dinkum.
Let's get your thoughts. Oh, before that, by the way, coming up, we've got a stat that Richie Benno would be proud of, the great late Richie Benno. It's about 222s, if you were with us earlier, and what numbers Mick Malthouse is wearing in his earlier playing days. But first, let's focus on what we've seen in front of us. Fremantle 7-7-49 to the Tigers 6-3-39. Hall of Famers them both, Michael Malthouse and Peter Bell. Gather round on ABC Sport.
Well, Mick, I thought that Richmond had the better of Fremantle for the first 10 minutes or so. Yep. Didn't get their reward for effort. They're out-possessing, out-marking, spreading the ball, but maybe not enough penetration and maybe not enough forward weapons right now to really give them a reward for effort for all their hard work. And then what happened was Fremantle eventually started turning over a few and just looked really dangerous. Lots of space. The forwards got to work and ended up winning the quarter 3-2. But it's been a pretty tight tussle overall.
10 points is not insurmountable by any stretch, but you just have this feeling there's a few things that have clicked in place. The way that Fremantle are using their ruckman, particularly Darcy, protecting him, when he comes on, he looks fresh. Nankervis will want a ruck most of the time, and by the end of his stint, he doesn't jump and he's a bit tighter. Darcy comes in and really controls the ball. I think that the midfield of Richmond were very much on top, and then I think that the midfield of Fremantle is starting to take over. The biggest worry to me as a Richmond person would be that their half-forward line, when the ball gets to the centre, their half-forward line is either lacking one player, lacking a crummer, or lacking someone who can mark the football, because PSI rate as high as any key backline player in the competition. He's not giving Lynch a lot of. Lynch's goal was magnificent, but he's not getting a lot of it. Rioli kicked his first 2 goals in the first blink of an eye. We've hardly seen him at all since then, and this is where his bread and butter has got to be. He must be a player that can crumb the football, because the Dockers are very disciplined. They'll put the ball on the ground. Forward line, well, I think that Bolton's starting to have an impact on the game up around the more so outside the front 50. Young is now starting to work out where he left off last year. It would take a half a game to probably start to pick up the pace of the game. He's been out for a while. He's a top class player. He's just not a good player for Fremantle. He's a top class player. He is going to really have an impact on this game.
And in your experience, Mick, the ability to have a left footer for your midfield group, how it opens up the ground and makes your forward so much more threatening, because the player turns in a different way to the rest of your midfielders.
And also, Billy, the fact that he can kick the ball. I'm going to say 60 metres. Let's work on 55, but. So you've got that added bonus of having that left foot. You've got your hard workers. Brayshaw is a really hard worker. You've got Sarong got back in the game. McIntosh has been outstanding, but I can just see him. He's starting to wilt. He's going from player to player. He's really struggling. I don't say this game's over by a long shot, but it's been steady. It's an increase in pressure. It's an increase in ball power. It's an increase in scoring. Fremantle have just probably flicked that switch a bit more, and the only way Richmond can get back, really, if they've got to score early this quarter and put a little bit of a wobble into Fremantle. But if Fremantle kick the goals, I've just got a feeling that this could be I won't say a blowout, but I think that Fremantle should have a comfortable victory.
And interestingly, Richmond have scored 3 goals from centre bounce, so that's an indication of when they're at their most dangerous, because otherwise Fremantle set up that press, that zone really, really well, and it's really difficult for, let's face it, an inexperienced team to kick through it, or otherwise at some stage you've got to take it along down the line and try and get a crumb off that, which is hard to do. Fremantle, on the other side of the equation, have scored 5 goals from turnover. So that's by setting up that press, waiting for an error, pouncing on a loose ball, a come-forward defence effect to spoil, and then get goal-side runners going. So that's been the contrast in styles. Richmond have done well at stoppage, which has been an area of strength for Fremantle. But just some of the other stats that I found interesting. Fremantle with the Richmond with the marking control that we talked about, but Fremantle getting it inside 50 quite a bit more than Richmond have done. So starting to look more and more dangerous the longer that quarter went on, with players like Bolton and Tracy, Murphy-Reid particularly.
Question was asked in regards to average ages of the teams that have been put out there so far throughout this season. Fremantle with an average age of 24.6, Richmond with an average age of 24.5. players 22 or under, which I'm prepared to say are young players. Fremantle have 8 out there today. Richmond have 9. So fairly balanced on those fronts. You always get the players who swing it a bit one way or the other. So like Jago O'Meara's 31, obviously swings it a bit for Fremantle, the ages. And then you've got the likes of Tom Lynch, who's 32, and Nick Floston, who's 30, and Nathan Broad, who's, 31 as well. McIntosh, who's 31. So it's not as, I guess, as simple as saying that this is your average age if you've got a few guys who are 30 plus. But that gives you the indication that both Richmond and Fremantle are on the young side. Richmond slightly more so, but they do have
a lot more
bigger
new
group
players.
They've got a lot more new players, but they've also got a lot of older players in the 30 plus, where if you look at the Fremantle numbers of 30 plus, I would have a suspicion outside of O'Meara, as I cast my eyes down this. No, O'Meara's the only player out there today who's over the age of 30 for Freo.
When we say young, in my reference to young here is there's a lot of younger players playing basically their first or second season for the Tigers.
Yeah, inexperienced. And it's a competition that is trending older, isn't it? I mean, we've seen Geelong and Collingwood in the last few years be, consecutively before Brisbane, the oldest 2 premiership teams we've seen.
Yeah, and what about the impact, while we're talking about age, the impact that some of those older players are having at the moment? We saw Paddy Dangerfield on Thursday night. We've seen Steele Sidebottom and Pendlebury as well. Dane Zorko, what he's doing at his age. So that experience has been really, really valuable, and it's been interesting how trends sort of occur. 10 years ago, if you were 32, 33, it was time to sort of transition you out. Now you're being heralded for your experience.
Is that a new kind of berry, the Pendlebury?
We've got Mitch Turner's been on the text to us. Big g'day to you, Mitch. Thanks for texting in about the whole Mick Malthouse 22 jumper saga. What's he said us?
There's a bit of a scandal here. So on AFL tables, in one of your games in 1976, they've listed 2 number 22s. So the record books, there's a little mistake there. You didn't have a big day, Mick, just the 11 disposals. But the other number 22...
All goals. Were they all goals?
No.
From the back pocket?
From the back pocket.
I kicked 15 for the year.
Robert Lamb had 26...
15 for the 12 years.
Robert Lamb was also allegedly wearing the number 22 that day. So I think there's a little...
I wore 28 and 7,
yeah,
Ben.
I agree. Well, I don't agree.
I know I might be losing my memory a fair bit, but that I do know that I wore 28 when I first went to Richmond, and then 7 for the next 7 years.
We will never criticise AFL tables. They do a great job.
I can only go off the record books, and that's what it told me, but you'll change your numbers.
So I'm sure during lunch break here you'll go back to the records and start to bring up some other useless information, but that's okay.
Nothing's useless. It's always interesting, Michael. Hi, guys. Enjoying the cool, great quarter by the Tigers. They're going to be one of those nuisance sides. Amos hasn't been the same player since he had that bad kidney injury when he was out for the season.
Well, that was a couple of years ago, and he's had a 43-goal season, I think, from memory, in a high 30s. He just, besides the 4 goals he kicked in the Derby, he's had a quieter start to this year. So I'd love to see just him introduce some variety to what he's doing rather than stay deep all the time. He's a lovely field kick, so come up the field and try and get it around true centre-half forward, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're going to rely on that ball to be caught, marked, free kicked, or what in the goal square, or goal area, it's not a goal square, then you're going to be waiting around for a long time. It's the same with Fritsch. Fritsch hardly touched the football. Now, I don't say he's out of the woodwork by a long shot, but the simple fact is he is now coming up and getting the ball on the wing, so he's getting himself involved. And I think Amos has got to do that, particularly if you're going to key forward that's marking everything, Belly. Get the other player up the ground to keep the extra defender off your back.
Just one thing, and I'm no key forward expert by any stretch, but I'd like to see him coming at the ball more. Too often he's running back to the goal scorer and wanting it out the back. Come to the kicker.
More text to come, but we need to head across after we just pause here with Fremantle leading by 10 points at half-time and find out what's the latest in the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Thanmaya Navada. National Housing Campaign Group Everybody's Home says both major party promises failed to tackle Australia's housing crisis and is calling for more ambitious policies. The coalition is proposing a plan which allows first home buyers of newly built properties to deduct their mortgage interest payments from their taxable income. Meanwhile, Labor is promising $10 billion to build 100,000 new homes for first home buyers, which they can purchase with a 5% deposit. Everybody's Home says the next federal government must invest significantly in building more social housing. The United States has handed its first major concession to China in their escalating trade war by exempting some electronic goods from what President Donald Trump calls reciprocal tariffs. The exemption will include smartphones, computers and semiconductors imported from China, sparing them from tariffs of more than 100%. The BBC's David Willis has more.
This amounts to an acknowledgement, I think, on the part of the Trump administration that prices for consumer electronics were likely to skyrocket in this country as a result of the ongoing trade tussles. And so adding hundreds of dollars to the price of an iPhone, for example, or a laptop computer could have caused his approval rating some considerable damage.
A commemorative service has been held honouring the victims and first responders of the fatal stabbing attack at Bondi Junction last year. Courtney Barrett-Peters reports.
A year ago today, 6 people died and another 10 were injured when Joel Couchy stabbed people at random inside the Westfield shopping centre before he was shot dead by Police Inspector Amy Scott. To mark the anniversary of the attack, a temporary memorial has been set up in the Oxford Street Mall where members of the community can lay floral tributes. Dignitaries, including the Governor-General Sam Mostyn and emergency services representatives, have attended a service. The New South Wales Government, Waverley Council and Westfield Shopping Centre are working towards a permanent memorial at the site.
Concerns are being raised about a projected rise in the number of women dying from gynecological cancers. The Australia-New Zealand Gynecological Oncology Group is calling for $100 million over the next 4 years to fund better diagnosis tools and treatments in the wake of a new report that's found gynecological cancers could claim the lives of 23 women a day by 2035. The group's chair, Professor Claire Scott, says survival rates from cancers, including ovarian and uterine, are as poor as survival rates of all cancers 50 years ago.
I believe that there hasn't been an improvement in survival because we simply don't know enough about these very rare cancers. We need more research and more clinical trials, and that requires more support and more awareness.
An art therapy program at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital has secured new funding just days after its staff were warned of potential job cuts. Tanya Lee reports.
Organisers of the Good Friday Appeal have stepped in to fund the hospital's art therapy program, saying that it offers children and families a creative way to explore the emotional impact of hospitalisation, illness and treatment. The funding news arrived days before the hospital's biggest fundraising event and after a leaked hospital document indicated 13 positions in the Children's Cancer Centre were at risk. The roles included mental health clinicians, a neuropsychologist and 3 art therapists, with the hospital citing a shortfall in philanthropic funds for the planned cuts.
Tens of thousands of Serbian President Aleksandar Vucic's supporters have held a rally in Belgrade following months of student-led protests against him. A monitoring organisation estimates that more than 50,000 people rallied, much smaller than a recent anti-government demonstration. There have been regular protests since November when the collapse of a railway station in the city of Novi Sad killed 15 people, triggering widespread public anger. Mr Vucic has urged the crowd to get behind the government.
We have to be united, so please show how you see Serbia moving forward. We will listen to you. We will change things that are bad, but you must, together with all other students, get on that train of the future towards the progress and prosperity of our Serbia.
And a new study has found more than 3 million children around the world are thought to have died in 2022 as a result of antibiotic-resistant infections. 2 leading child health experts who analysed data from multiple sources, including the World Health Organization, say it's a more than 10-fold increase in just 3 years. And you're up to date with the latest from ABC News. For more news at any time, you can download the ABC Listen app.
Just like this flame bowerbird, ABC iView is free. Watch as he never pays for quality content. ABC iView, always free, always in.
On ABC Sport, this is the 2025 AFL Gather Round, live from South Australia.
Here comes Durando again, into the right forward pocket, massive pack up. Offhand, spills down the shot at goal is sensational. Oh, Steely Green. He provides an absolute front of Nankervis. No one could mark. Spills out the back. Here's a chance for Bolton. He scoops it up. Steps one. Got a hand pass away to Frederick. Throws it on the boot and sends it through for a major. Bolton sliding out to take the mark on his knees. Still in the centre square. Hands it back to Sarong. Now to Young. Young goes long towards goal. That's a beauty. Hayden Young, his first game since he fractured his leg in the last game of last season. He's in front position of a line of 6. He's able to take the mark, and he's saying that perhaps Durando should have been pinged for infringing going into the protected area. The umpire's not interested. Goes to Sarong. Kicks inside forward 50, leading out Tracy Marks. Josh Tracy looking for what would be his fourth. That sails over the top of the umpire's cap. Josh Tracy has got 4 goals.
This is the 2025 AFL Gather Round on ABC Sport.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time here at Barossa Park in Lyndoch, surrounded by the Barossa Rangers, surrounded by wineries, which brings us to our next text. Let me just recap. Fremantle leading by 10 points at half-time over the Tigers. 0437 774 774. Marcus sent us a text. Happy to hear you all enjoyed your tour of the winery yesterday. I'd love to give a shout out to the winery, but being the ABC, we can't do these things. It's a very big field, is what I would say. It was a pleasure taking you all around, and even better hearing you guys today commentating the football from the beautiful Barossa Valley. Thank you for Marcus. You are the most unbelievable host. Having a look at the port, the barrels upstairs, which are on display for certain guests, and because Mick and Belly are very important, we were allowed to tag along as well, Ben.
Yeah.
Back to 1878. Incredible that they kept.
It was great.
What about the date palms all around the place? So
we need to look out.
I haven't named the vineyard.
No, I know that.
I've ever named
but
that.
What I would say...
But there's a much better story to come out of all this, Mick.
It just went a bit AWOL at the end. So we'd had a lovely tour. We'd had a great time at this winery. And no names, no pack drill. But the lady at the front, she said to us, oh, I didn't even think of it. You'd know GM, Person X, who used to work in football. Mick Malthouse said, yes, I know them. Can you please leave a message for me? Thanks for sacking me. Don't leave a name. He'll know who left it. And proceeded to then depart the winery. That was the end of our trip.
That doesn't diminish the wine and the
water.
That was just a bit of information, I bet.
But you know the other bit that I liked on the way in, Peter and I have wandered in.
Yes.
There's the Premier. Wave to the Premier, Peter Malinauskas. Yep, enjoying your time. Leave you alone.
You know you're at the right place when you go in there and there's the Premier.
So there's the Premier. You walk in with Mick, and then Mick, one of the hardest tags we've seen since Cameron Ling retired, goes straight to the Premier.
No, and he called me over. He called me over.
Oh, I know, he called you over.
Oh, what do you want me to do?
You went there and you told him what's what, which I admired.
No, I didn't tell him what's what. Actually, what I did say to him, I congratulated him. I just thought it was outstanding. Because I remember him last year, he said to me, we've got to improve. I said, no, you don't have to improve anything. You've already mastered it. Just change it. Just change things up. Because what you've done for the people of South Australia and anyone else who loves Australia's football and can get here, you've opened up their minds.
Changed nothing, Mike.
Well, they did. They changed it. They changed it from Mount Barker to here.
And leave it here.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll just speak to Tim at the back of the box. He can leave us here as well for next year. Ben Cameron to get us underway. Second half has just started. It's the Dockers by 10.
Going out after it, Brayshaw, like a cannonball. He tries again, but still can't quite gather the football over the top of it. McIntosh.
He's dragged
Richmond,
back
holding
in.
the ball.
He's unlucky, Hamden, because a few players did that, but he was the one who got caught at the wrong moment.
Free kick to Sarong, just the defensive half for the Dockers. Goes onto his left, an ambitious kick. Trying to get it to Johnson. He can't reel in the mark out of play. And a throw in between wing and half forward. Dockers by 10.
Got himself in a trouble there, Caleb. I don't know why you'd want to kick there. Just get it in deep.
Ron from Adelaide asked, hi guys, enjoying the call. Did Mick stock up on his jams?
We did find a jam factory yesterday, but unfortunately it wasn't open.
Anticlimax to that story, Ben.
Umpire throws it in. Both rucks miss it. Out the back it goes. Campbell can't gather it cleanly. Frederick can. Hands it to Johnson. I'm not really sure how. Off to Clark. Loves a long-range goal. And misses away to the right.
Well, that's encouraging because he can kick the ball 60 metres into a supposed bruise, because that's gone a long way. It was a beautiful bit of play by the Dockers to clear that ball out and still have a runner, and we know Clark's a great runner.
Fremantle by 11 points, early stages of the third.
Here he's short, standing at the top of his defensive goal square. He's got the kicking duties, and he kicks long towards the commentary wing. Waiting underneath it is
courageous.
Warner, and he would have heard the footsteps coming to Lynch amongst them. Mark or free kick, take your pick, but he's been awarded the mark. Had enough of it. You can hear the helicopters, by the way, that did the tours around the wineries, just buzzing around us at the moment. The kick's inside forward 50. Good spoil from Broad at the back.
What a high tackle.
It was. Tracy has been taken high by Hopper. Tracy had it as he was trying to shovel it out. Hopper's got him high, and it's a free kick to Tracy, who is bang in front once again and could go and put boots a ball from about 35 metres out. He's looking for what would be goal number 5.
Not a whole lot in it, but the tackle just slipped high from Jacob Hopper. He's a pretty vigorous player. And Tracy, after a great first half, this would be a great start for Fremantle.
Here he comes, Josh Tracy, looking to give the Dockers the perfect start to the second half. The kick is straight through the middle and about 15 rows back into the grandstand. He's got 5. And Tracy sees Fremantle's lead stretch out to what is now 17 points. 2.5 gone in the third term. The Dockers are 8-8-56. Richmond 6-3-39. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport, around the nation on ABC Radio, on ABC Sport Digital, and streaming on the ABC Listen app. Our experts, Michael Malthouse and Peter Bell.
He's only going to get better, Belly. He's a young man. He probably will put on another 3 or 4 kilos. You know, you can always judge the weight, so they can bring that back. But he is a serious contender for one of the best forwards going around. He's sort of crept up on a lot of people, because Amos was the one that was the main player. All of a sudden he's jumped up, kicked goals. But he's now doing it so regularly. And you compare him to some of the other forwards, he is a serious contender for the reason why Fremantle can or may not make it.
Yeah, I'll investigate with you as well, Peter, how he ended up at the Dockers, because what a steal he's been. Now an equal career high of 5 goals in a game. Looking to best that today.
Kicked 45 from 18, and he was a big reason why Fremantle tailed off at the end of last year when he got injured.
Umpire puts it aloft. Darcy slapping it down towards Young. Bounces off him. Clark bursts through a couple. Now he slips over under the pump. Gets rid of it. Sarong paddles, then gathers, then tackled.
In the back.
And in the back, free kick going the way of the Dockers.
Well, about time they started playing those. You tackle from behind and you push them to the ground.
Freo by 17. Sarong quickly inside 50. And Frederick jumps up to mark overhead. He's got it 30 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, we know where that ball was going. We knew it was going there, but Richmond didn't. They were falling back just in case the young key backs need a bit of a hand in the air and then become a one-on-one. And that's the best thing you can get, is a one-on-one, and the backline player is caught between the kicker and the receiver.
Michael Frederick is Josh Tracy's housemate, and he wants to get in on the fun. He slots it. Fremantle out by a game-high lead of 23. He's got a couple. 9-8-62, plays 6-3-39. 5 minutes into the third. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
It's only early in this quarter, but Fremantle have to get a muzzle on... Richmond have to get a muzzle on Fremantle around its stoppage. It's 5-1 for stoppages in this quarter, and Sarong getting involved, Young, Brayshaw, they've just been working the ball forward and into some really dangerous spots.
Those number 32s, Peter Bell in Fremantle colours.
It's great to see one finally with a little bit of speed.
Yeah, very similar athletes, Hill, Frederick and Bell.
You're all
very similar body fat percentages. About triple what Frederick and Hill have
combined.
Very competitive player, though, as we discovered on Extra Time the other night.
But you're a Hall of Famer, that, mate. That makes a big difference.
Here's Darcy getting the clearance away from the restart for the Dockers. Tracy couldn't trap it. Reed, can he get there? Harassed by Broad, knocked it away, came to Young, left forward pocket for Fremantle. Back to Frederick, now to O'Meara, dropped it first time and then handed it straight to Rioli, who bursts through the Dockers and takes a bounce. Desperate effort from Brayshaw.
Did he get his foot
tackled? I'm not sure. Then he was wrapped up by O'Meara. Holding the ball was the call. The Dockers respond by sending it inside forward 50. And it's marked there from Bolton. Rioli was bursting away, and I reckon it was Brayshaw who just was able to stop him, and now Bolton can go back and have a shot on goal.
It was Brayshaw. I reckon he just got Morris's foot as he was falling to ground, so he was unlucky, but terrific turnover from Fremantle.
Bolton looking for a goal against his former club. Twice a premiership Tiger. First year in Fremantle colours. Kicks on its way. He liked it the moment it left the boot. He gave a little punch into the air, and it's through for 6 more points for Fremantle. Shea Bolton, he does kick a goal against his former club. Fremantle 10-8-68. Richmond 6-3-39. Fremantle, they put their lead out to a game-high 29.7 minutes gone into the third term. Gather round on ABC Sport.
Well, Billy, Tigers can't get the ball. There's no way that was a free kick. In fact, it should have been the Rioli. It was a clip of the heel. So Richmond will be... They're unfortunate about that one. But the simple fact is, and I know that's caused the goal, is that the midfield are now dominating. And that's where the Tigers have got to start putting the screws in. Just to stop them. Don't want them to score yourself. Put the nail on.
3 goals, 16 disposals.
Yeah.
From Fremantle. The Tigers, 4 for the quarter so far.
That's right, mate. Can't get it.
Hit the last 6 goals in the game, the Fremantle Dockers. Camden McIntosh hooking a ball to half forward. Here's Maurice Rioli onto it. Handball knocked down. Brayshaw. Now he turns tackler. Good tackle too. Ball up centre half forward for Richmond.
Just the value of Brayshaw, a high score assist player and high pressure player as a mid.
When he won that MVP, the AFLPA MVP, he was so good. Such a great two-way runner. As Frederick coughs up the ball for the Dockers. Richmond in possession. McIntosh kicks into the pocket. Wants a marker. Brennan Cox back home on South Australian soil. On a 3 out there in terms of Crow Eaters for the Dockers today. They lead by 29 points. 8 played in the third.
He's a very, very talented marking player. He puts a full stop to any charge if he's in the one-on-one.
So Cox to Chapman beyond defensive 50. Clark can't keep it in for the Dockers. It's over for a boundary throwing. Matty asks on the text line 0437 774 774. Listening on the drive back to Perth from Peaceful Bay. Is the oval quite short? It sounds like the ball gets from one end to the other really quickly.
158 metres long, 120 wide.
Yeah. So it's not that short, but it is quite narrow in regards to most grounds around the nation. Chance for the Tigers to go inside forward 50. Campbell with a deep kick towards right full forward. Cox happy to just tap it in the direction of the boundary and then fumble it over with Blight right with him. Throw in about 15 metres to the right of Richmond's attacking goal. They're heading to the right of our broadcast position in this, the third term. That's the Lindock end of Barossa Park here in Lindock. Dockers lead 10-8 to 6-3. Ball back into play. Another ruck with a telling touch. Hopper got bumped off it by O'Meara, who then sits on the deck. Hopper's hand pass was up into the air. Banfield had it. He was tackled immediately to ground by Lynch. Ball came out the back. Trying to work it out, Frederick tackled to ground by Short. Still comes out the back for the Dockers. Brayshaw tapped it to his own advantage. His hand pass went awry. Dow picked it up. DeSonsi for the Tigers into the right forward pocket. There is no one there. And it tumbles across the boundary line for what will be another throw-in deep in the right forward pocket.
So just to contextualise that, what that actually means is it is 3 metres longer than the SCG, but it's also significantly narrower. So 16 metres narrower than the Sydney Cricket Ground, which is obviously round.
I thought it'd be like Docklands, actually. Similar dimensions.
And Curvis takes it out of the ruck. His kick dribbles 2 metres. Fremantle win it in their back pocket. Chapman, the exiting kick up to the wing. Hayden Young reaches in and marks. Geez, a player, this guy. And he's up and going. He is the straw that stirs the drink for the Fremantle Dockers in that midfield. As he comes infield with his kick away to Jager O'Meara.
Never heard that expression in my life.
I don't even know what that means.
It means he's the one who gets everything going.
I know what it means.
Gets it
I've just
moving.
never heard it before.
Well, he learns something new every day. There's the kick around the wing from Banfield. Is marked there by Brown.
It's not one of those plastic straws that the President of the United States brought back into play, is he?
Here you go, Richmond through the middle. Campbell tearing through the guts. He kicks to full forward. And down there is Blight. A famous name in these parts. He marks at full forward. And he'll go back and kick for goal.
Good ball movement from the Tigers off half back. They won possession of the footy, found the corridor, always so dangerous, and it was Campbell delivering a bullet inside 50 to Jacob Blight, who was goal side of Brennan Cox.
It's unusual for him to be out Mark Cox.
Here is Blight popping it through and stemming the bleeding for the Tigers. Their 7th major, 10-8-68, plays 7-3-45. Fremantle by 23 points, 11 and a half minutes into this third term. Gather round on ABC Sport. When you stir a drink, everything gets moulded together. It brings everything together.
You don't have to explain it. We knew exactly what you're talking about. It was just the first time I've ever heard it. It's got a Ben Cameron special.
I use a spoon and do that sort of stuff.
He can be the spoon if that's what you want him to be.
Just, we'll get back to the game instead of the comedy. There's a comedy thing in Melbourne at the moment. Ben, you'd go very well.
It's not meant to be comedy. It's just to explain.
No, well, you are. You're a comedian. So, look at the boss here. He's looking at you thinking, we're going to get rid of this bloke. You know? So,
still be sacked less than you, Mick.
Yeah, I know. I know. I've been sacked 6 times, mate. I've 6 clubs 6 times. Don't worry. I understand that, Ben. By the way, you've got the ticket, Timmy. Just put it on his desk there, won't you? No, there's no comeback for that one, Ben.
We're underway again. Sorry, Mick, I have to jump in here. The ball's gone to the outside of the centre circles. There'll be a ball up. Are you the spoon in your relationship, Ben?
Always.
Throwing up again. And Curvis won it down. The big spoon or the little spoon? Taken here by Dow. Trying to get a hand pass out. Eventually emerging with it. Johnson has picked it up for the Dockers and goes on a bit of a run and then kicks towards the commentary wing. Frederick paused. Looked to tap it to his own advantage. Brown didn't. Was able to gather. Kicks the Tigers towards right half forward. Stretching as he leapt up towards it. Ralph Smith. And then he'll go to centre half forward. That's a beautiful kick. On in turn to Ross. Ross sends it towards goal. He's missed the loss.
Bit rushed.
It was. Luke Ryan came forward, which caused some pressure, but he could have settled up there, and they had an open forward line with which to play with.
They had a lot of room in there. The last 5 minutes, Richmond have started to take a little bit of control of the ground ball and the loose football. So this is where they have to make impact as we speak.
Here you go, Fremantle, bringing it down the western wing. Banfield infield handball away to Luke Ryan. He moves it on to Brayshaw on the logo. Kicks up to Frederick. Half forward flank for the Dockers. Pokes it in the path of Tracy on a back lead into the pocket. And he's got it 5 metres in from the boundary line, 25 metres out.
Just on really, really hard work. It was really the stuff that you'd like a full forward to be able to do. Come up the ground, get back, find space. Don't just rely on something that's going to be delivered on your chest. You have to work for it. That was outstanding work ethic.
He's already got one for the thumb. Looking to start on the other hand and have a career high 6 goals at AFL level. Josh Tracy is Fremantle's man. He's got 6 goals and the Dockers lead by 29 points. 11-8-74, plays 7-3-45. Quarter hour mark. Gather round on ABC Sport. Peter Bell, how did the Dockers pinch this man so cheap?
Well, it was a great pick in a COVID year from some recruiters at Fremantle who spotted him playing underage footy and knew that he'd done a whole lot of work up Bendigo way in the off-season before the season got cancelled, Mick.
Yeah.
So he barely played during the year, but Fremantle knew that he was vastly fitter. Other clubs did, but managed to pick him as a rookie that year at the conclusion of the year. He was a big, burly guy, loved physical contact, and he's got himself into great shape, and it's a great pick at the end of the day. Power forward as a rookie.
If you can pick a rookie, let's face it, it's not a fluke necessarily, because you should pick him. If you think he's that good, you pick him during the draft. But if your draft's finished and you'll be able to pick these players, well, they don't let you down.
Pick 7 in the 2020 rookie draft. Josh Tracy, a career-high 6 goals today. From the restart, it came out to Banfield. It was tackled by Ralph Smith. Will ball it up. Just forward of the circles for the Tigers. Nan Curvis took clean possession, was able to work it out. This is Brown. Wobbles a kick inside forward 50. Awkward bounce for Blight at the back. Green had it. Oh, smashed! Huge tackle from Pearce. Green gathered it, looked to take him on. Pearce absolutely got him, took him to ground, and there's a little bit of afters here as well. Didn't think there was anything wrong with the tackle. No. Was it high? That looks like what the umpires paid here. I just thought it was a great crunching tackle.
That's probably one of the best tackles of the year.
He's got him around there and taken him to ground, hasn't driven him into the back. That's a perfect tackle. Ball up's the call. The Tigers just reacting to it from such a big hit. From the restart, Banfield gathers, kicks along the boundary line, and it's gone across for what will be a throw in at right half back. That's a great tackle.
Particularly when you hit a big bloke like that.
200 centimetres on a smaller player. He got down low and absolutely nailed Steely Green.
Yeah, that's one of the best tackles I've seen this year.
Umpire brings it in. Blight hooks it down onto it quickly, though. Jordan Clark for the Dockers. And now they zip through the middle. Banfield, forward handball to the runner, Switkowski. Through the bullseye. Kicks long. Guess who's down there? Tracy can't get to it. Broad swats it away. There to mop up Miller. Tackled by Amos in the crocodile roll. And the umpire wants it alongside the behind post. Freo by 29 points. Gather round on ABC Sport.
It is time for Amos to get busy because Broad's starting to fold off him to get back and support on Tracy.
Well, that's the midfield of Fremantle. I've got to understand that now. Open your eyes up.
Voss does the right work down to Amos. Couldn't take it cleanly. Dow was there, got taken high. We'll get the free kick for the Tigers deep in the left back pocket. Robin Williams says, Ben, a swizzle stick is what you're thinking of, used for stirring drinks. Thank you, Rob. You know your drinks. A swizzle stick.
No, you can't say that.
Why? If you know what a swizzle stick is,
I know.
you would.
What I'm saying is I don't think he can get his tongue around it.
Oh, right. Good sledging in the box today. Voston dives over the football.
It's been building over the last few days together.
It has.
It's the heat. I'm telling you now.
The back seat of the SUV we've had has been very entertaining. I'm glad I'm not sitting there, but it's been entertaining to listen to. The kick comes towards right half back. It is off hands and over for a boundary throw-in. 0437 774 774. Guys, it sounds like a proper festival football when you can hear Mick and Belly's chopper flying in the background. Cheers, Aaron. We discovered today that Uber Chopper does exist, Ben Cameron.
Does. Voss takes it out of the ruck, sends the Dockers to full forward. Amos down there. Broad punches it away. Bouncing ball. Murphy Reid bursting through. Not the first time or the second. Broad goes and wins it. Reid dispossesses him. Loston goes in. Now Campbell for the Tigers. And Trainer just whacks it out of there. Long kick to the wing, tracking it back Warner, and it tumbles out. Throwing coming, neutral territory, eastern side. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport, and how good is it? In the Barossa Valley, the rolling hills, the vineyards, sunshine, the cellar doors. Nick Malthouse and Peter Bell, along with Clint Wilden and Stephen Murphy on the boundary.
Spun back into play. Moss against Blight. Moss got a fingertip to it with his left hand stretched up high. Felt the Banfield. Tackled immediately by Blight. Ball up. Just forward of centre wing for the Dockers. Out of sight of the ground. Blight won it down. McIntosh couldn't take it. Bursting along the boundary line, Dow, and he's tackled over and into the fence by Banfield. He didn't push him into it. It's just the momentum. Actually trying to brace him, the Dockers player. We'll have another throw in. Cracking crowd. Warm day, about 29 degrees. Fremantle by 2 points at quarter time, by 10 at the break. They currently lead by 29 over Richmond in this third term. Blight tapped it down. Banfield behind. Tackled immediately. Ball jarred free. It was beautifully done too by Steely Green. It was on the end of a big hit earlier on. It spilled down to O'Meara. Got it to Clark. Back to O'Meara at right half back. And he spots Warner, who marks hard up against the boundary near the big electronic scoreboard that shows Fremantle 11-8-74, Richmond 7-3-45, 20 gone in the third.
What about this switch? Instead went to Banfield around the boundary line, who veers out onto his left leg. Kick into the pocket. Vlosten comes up, marks. Back pocket for the Tigers. 29 points is Fremantle's lead. Vlosten in possession in the back pocket. Just chips it short, his kick. Good enough to get to Traynor, who's been busy too. And a good day, the young Richmond player. Kicks out wide. Hopper accepts it.
It's where they've got to go quick. Got to go quick. It's one-on-one in front of him.
Gets it moving quickly. Inside attacking 50. At the back, Lynch in front of him, Pearce. Alex Pearce, the Dockers skipper, takes the defensive mark and flares his kick to fast Freddie. He's in space. Elects not to use his legs. Instead, just pokes it over the top to Sharp.
How important was that mark? That was in. Lynch had to run up. Pearce just held his ground, took a great defensive mark.
He's having a good day, Alex Pearce.
Brilliant day.
Dockers worked it back in their defensive 50. It came to Clark. It then comes back to Ryan, who had it a moment ago. Kick towards the commentary wing where Johnson marks. Sarong's back on the ground. He surges forward. Left half forward. Johnson looked there for a moment. He might go A little bit shorter than that to Sharp, and Ralph Smith's done well. He's seen it and punched it over the boundary line, and Sharp suggesting to Johnson perhaps he could have given it to him a little bit earlier.
Don't advertise that, young Sharp. Don't advertise that you're annoyed at one of your teammates. Just tell him at three-quarter time. No, really, you don't display that body language on the field. It's got to be all unity.
Freo by 29 points, 22 gone in the third turn. And Curvis won it down. Sarong out after it. Lost his footing as he was tackled. Managed to get the ball out the side though. Taranto picks it up. Darcy locks it in alongside Young. Ball up on the logo right beneath our broadcast wing. Gather round on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio around the nation. Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app. Clint Wilton alongside Ben Cameron and commentary.
Darcy swats it boundary side. Johnson gathers off to Young. Dribbles a kick inside 50, but the Tigers are back there. Miller gathers. Handball away to Traynor. Kicks a high ball up towards the wing. They'll run and jump at it. Warner, good mark. In from the side for the Dockers. On the logo. Bites off the kick corridor. It gets to O'Meara just.
It's a good block from Voss. Just protected O'Meara from Nathan Broad.
Legally too.
Slid in front of Broad, and now O'Meara looks into the pocket. In the Tracy direction, outmarked. Well done, Miller. Marks defensively for the Tigers and switches a kick to the pocket for Brown.
That's a very brave mark, given how Tracy's been going.
Tom Brown, dare I say it, that's a school days kick. Sends it out of bounds. Free kick here for the Dockers. Chapman brings it back inboard.
They're finding the corridor. Fremantle, just be patient and it'll really open up.
No one reads the classics in these boxes? No, okay. Warner to Johnson out towards right half back. Mark's taken there by Alex Pearce. Go back and have a shot, skipper. Hasn't kicked a goal this season, has just 5 in 127 career games. Take a deep breath. The big Tasmanian, the man they call Moose. And he launch, 45-degree angle. He'll kick from pretty much bang on 50. Here it comes. Alex Pearce has got right behind this. And I reckon it's gone through. And so do the Dockers players. And Pearce says, come on, get around me. And Fremantle's players come from everywhere to celebrate with their captain. That's a thumping goal. His first in a long time, his first of the season. And Alex Pearce has given Fremantle a 35-point advantage. We've gone 24 minutes into the third. 12-8, 80 to Richmond, 7-3, 45.
Well, great goal from Pearce, and he deserves that because he's perfected a brilliant tackle and then a really difficult contested mark against Tom Lynch, and the Fremantle boys get around Alex Pearce, and they just had to be patient there. They're finding the centre of the oval. Richmond are really Josh Tracy centric, if you like, so just flare it a little wider, and what do you know, there's the defender streaming forward.
He is certainly the glue. I know Cox has taken marks. Ryan's a good mark, but Pearce, to me, when he hurt his elbow last year, it was almost like see you later, Fremantle. But now that he's fit and the way he's playing brilliantly. In fact, you know, midfielders tend to get all the accolades, but he's destroyed his opponent and led beautifully.
Kicked 8 of the last 9 goals in the game, Fremantle. Looks like the kind of player you would love to coach as well, Mick. Alex Pearce.
He's a sort of bloke that probably you don't even have to coach. He's probably, the way he operates for the team, seems to have great values.
Chapman for the Dockers on the logo. Driving kick to fall forward. They all go up. Voss in front through his hands. Nankervis. He's tackled from all angles. Bracketed by a couple of Dockers in that tackle.
Just watching Shea Bolton. I think he's got some severe cramp, is what Fremantle fans would be hoping, but had some issues with a calf over the pre-season.
Hopefully not that. Clearing kick for Richmond. Ross just gets it out of there, and they've got the numbers. Picked up by Campbell. Back feeds a handball towards Brown on half-back. His kick. A cold turnover. So wrong marks for Freo, attacking edge of the square.
It's called for the ball, Shea Bolton, limping around.
Wouldn't go off with the trainer. Might have been cramped, Billy. I think he was spot on as Sarong switches play towards left half forward to Warner. Oh, that's a lovely kick inside forward 50 to Johnson, who marks.
Just getting going, Nick.
I'm just looking at Richmond, I'm not going to say they're conceded, but what they've done, they've all fallen back within 15-20 metres of goal. Forgot that there's a line between the 50-metre line and, say, 25 to 30-metre line. Left it wide open. This player's having a shot, and technically no one was on him. It's one of those games where It just seems to be now Richmond have had a real burst at it, and the deterioration is setting in. The better side is now in control.
It's a tight angle from the left forward pocket for Johnson. Oh, it's a ball kick. He sprayed it out to the right. It's off hands across the boundary line for a throw-in deep at right full forward. We'll get a check from Steve Murphy downstairs. Bolton has just come to the bench. Make sure it's nothing more than a bit of cramp, so we'll get Steve to keep an eye on that downstairs for us. No change to that score. 12-8-80. Freo plays Richmond 7-3-45. Late stages, third term.
450 stoppage for the Dockers. Nankervis takes it out of the ruck, gets rid of it, away to Banks, handball error, and out of play. Throw in 40 around from the attacking goal here for the Dockers. Annette's not going to be upset with me, is she, Mick?
I don't think she'll talk to you for a month.
She knows that you get stuck into
no soup first. On Friday. No soup, you.
Throw in 40 around from the attacking goal. Freo by 35. Nankervis bringing it down to the front. Broad scrapping after the footy. Young right there with him.
I could see you in that role inside, Philip, but no suit for you. I could see you in that.
Yeah. It's a good line.
It's a great line.
Up it goes again. Nankervis drags it in, takes it straight out of the ruck, spills out to Taranto. He squeezes a kick to the wing. Umpire accelerating. Insufficient intent. Free kick going the way of the Dockers on the wing.
And George Costanza's just finished talking to us. Haven't you, George?
A bit more hair than George.
Yeah, it was better brain he is.
Oh.
No, well, look at his positions he's had. He's had some fantastic positions. What are you doubting, George?
I am.
He'd like to work at the Yankees, I reckon, though. Here's Chapman, who's got it on centre wing for the Dockers, and he kicks towards right half forward. Here's Ryan. He's come a long way forward for Fremantle. Kicks towards the top of the goal square. Big fly, no mark. Brown is there at the drop to Broad. Oh, look away. Hand pass over his head. Taken by Brown. Tackled over the boundary line. Ball stays just in play. Locked in here. Umpire will say it's a free kick. The Tiger taken high here. Getting up will be short. Let's head downstairs to the boundary and find out what's going on. Steve Murphy.
Yeah, Shea Bolton, as you mentioned, on the bench, you would assume it's cramp. He's not getting extra attention at the moment, barring a very wet towel on his head. So I'm assuming Dockers fans, he will be okay.
Just wonder if Dudley might come in at some stage and Shea might be the one who's managed. Maybe might be a smart play.
Heat like this, you take away any danger to a player.
Too valuable, isn't he?
He's had the interrupted pre-season, Mick.
Yes, he has.
Maybe that might be the move they go with. He'd hate it, but take one for the team.
Free kick to the Dockers on the wing. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport from the Barossa. On the wing, Pearce wants to recycle it with the switch. Big V switch from the Dockers. Back to Luke Ryan, who goes out to Sharp, who's been galloping up and down that eastern wing all day. Does so again. Kicks up to half forward. Broad's there, punches it down. Getting involved quickly is Brown and Trainer. And a ball up is coming on half forward here for Freo. They lead by 35. Clint Wilden, Ben Cameron, Mick Malthouse, Peter Bell and Steve Murphy bringing you all of the action. Umpire tosses it aloft. Nankervis with the tap. Upper getting out of handball. Involved though Sharp, Fremantle. Just retreating for the time being. Chapman off the Brayshaw. Brayshaw turns and kicks long. Down there is Voss. So too Miller, who double fists it away to the boundary line. Kills it for a throw-in. 35 around from the Dockers attacking goal. They led it by 35.
Yeah, Brayshaw's kick in there really gave the opportunity for backline players to practically punch away. He would have been better to lower the eyes. He had targets right on 50. Okay, you might be able to kick him from 50, but you retain possession of the footy. So it's important that you just don't waste going inside your front 50.
Ball put back into play. There was a Docker taken down off the ball. It's Hopper who's given away the free kick on Sarong.
They're putting a lot of physicality onto Caleb Sarong, which is what you'd expect, but obviously overstepped the mark there, Jacob Hopper.
Had 38 disposals last week in an immense game of football for the Dockers. And their win over the Bulldogs. He kicks towards full forward, stretching Nankervis. Front position, got a hand on it, brought it down. Boss picks it up. Shrugs Boston out of the way. Snaps over his body for a goal. And he's gone. The massive celebration. Everywhere he can go, running around. Dockers need to be careful when they get poked in the eye by one of those willy-nilly high fives that he's given out in the past, Boss. But that was a goal of immense strength. And then a fair bit of dexterity too. Shoved away Boston, snapped over his shoulder. And Pat Voss He's got his first. That might be the way Voss has to kick him, Peter Bell. Don't even think about it. Snap him truly.
That's one way to improve your conversion. Kick it from closer to goal. He gets excited, doesn't he? He was off on a mad dash.
Well, he was quicker there than Gout.
It can be dangerous when he celebrates, though. We've seen him just poke teammates in the eye with the old willy-nilly high five. Freo's lead is 41, 13-8-86. The Dockers 7-3-45. 31 gone in the third. We'll run through some more texts at three-quarter time. 0437 774 774 if you'd like to get in touch.
Darcy tapped down to O'Meara, who gets it to Brayshaw, back to O'Meara, back to Darcy. The big ruckman turns and kicks in the Young direction, hands to it. Brown there with him for the Tigers. Gathers the footy, slung down out of play. And the umpire says, just spin it in. Calm down, boys. It's all right. 41 points. Freo's lead. Kicked 6 goals to 1 in this third term after booting the last 3 of the second quarter. Gather round on ABC Sport. Darcy palming it to the front. Taranto bobbling the football. Gets knocked out, and then a clearing kick coming from Brown. Roosted, in fact, right up towards the wing. No one able to mark. McIntosh picks it up, and now Richmond might be away. Handball to Blight.
Comes to Blight as the backtrack. Dockers forced to follow them backwards. Eventually the trainer moves it to Dow. Tigers now have it still at left half back. Broad wants it right half back. He's in acres of space. Was calling for the switch. It's ignored. Kick will go down the line. Barossa Valley Way wing off hands of a pack of 4. Pearce was in amongst them and over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Well, you've got a situation there where the Dockers backline are right on top, so don't give them any practice. Move the ball in there quickly so you can actually get the ball on your terms, or at least level terms. But right now, Richmond moving the ball far too slow, getting picked off by Fremantle.
Boundary umpire hurls it back into play. Nankervis against Darcy. Darcy in front, but won it down only as far as McIntosh. Moved it to Hopper at left half forward. Kicked into the left forward pocket. Alex Pearce had read that well. Couldn't quite complete the mark, though, as he went to ground. Got it out to Ryan, though. Then to Cox. To Warner. Provided the Shepherd to get it back to Ryan. High kick towards right half back for Fremantle. Darcy in front. Won it down. As he got a kick away, the siren rang out for three-quarter time. And Fremantle, who had led by 2 points at quarter time, by 10 at the main break, have dominated that term to stretch their lead to 41 points. 13-8-86 to Richmond's 7-3-45. The goal kickers for Fremantle, Josh Tracy, a career high 6 goals. Frederick Scott 2, Young, Pearce, Voss and Reid, the other goal kickers for the Dockers. While for Richmond, 2 to Rioli and singles to Lynch, McIntosh, Sonsi and Blight. The Dockers in that quarter, just absolutely outstanding. They've taken a very handy lead with 1 break to come. We'll run through your texts in just a moment, but wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app, look out for the AFL button. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
The footy might stop with the final siren, but with ABC AFL, the conversation keeps rolling. Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast with Premiership coach Paul Roos, alongside Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron and Poppy Penny.
From walking on thin ice to dancing on the mountaintop.
It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app. On ABC Sport, this is the 2025 AFL Gather Round, live from South Australia.
Rioli, who bursts through the Dockers and takes a bounce. Desperate effort from Brayshaw.
Did he get his foot
tackle? I'm not sure. Then he was wrapped up by Amira. Holding the ball was the call. The Dockers respond by sending it inside forward 50. And it's marked there from Bolton. Twice a premiership Tiger. First year in Fremantle colours. Kicks on its way. He liked it the moment it left the boot.
Stanfield infield handball away to Luke Ryan. And moves it onto Brayshaw on the logo. Kicks up to Frederick. Half forward flank for the Dockers. Pokes it in the path of Tracy on a back lead into the pocket, and he's got it 5 metres in from the boundary line, 25 metres out. Josh Tracy is Fremantle's man. He's got 6 goals.
Warner to Johnson out towards right half back. Mark's taken there by Alex Pearce. Go back and have a shot, skipper. Well, he'll kick from pretty much bang on 50. Here it comes. Alex Pearce has got right behind this. And I reckon it's gone through. And so do the Dockers players. And Pearce says, come on, get around me. Stretching man Curvis, front position, got a hand on it, brought it down. Boss picks it up. Oh, Shrugs lost it out of the way. Snaps over his body for a goal. And he's gone on the massive celebration. Everywhere he can go, running around.
This is the 2025 AFL Gather Round on ABC Sport.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Quarter time at Barossa Park here in Lyndoch, and Fremantle lead the Tigers by 41 points. Our next stop is at Norwood, where Matt Clinch is waiting. Clinchy, tell us about the Saints and the Giants.
Yeah, Clint, we look forward to picking up all the action after you. The Saints have been the surprise packet of 2025, and like the Giants, find themselves 3 wins and 1 loss to start the season. So today will give us a good gauge as to whether the Saints deserve more credit against a genuine premiership contender in the Giants, who their only loss came against the Hawks. There is a late change. Toby McMullen is out, Toby McMullen comes in, replacing Xavier O'Halloran. He'll be the sub tonight alongside Angus Hasties for the Saints. So Jesse Hogan, off the back of his 9 goals against the West Coast Eagles, looms large. Steve Scanilio didn't get through training, so he won't feature this afternoon. And the Saints looking to make it 4 wins on the trot. Can they do so against the Giants, as the people are streaming in here to Norwood after the Food and Wine Festival out the front? So looking forward to bringing it to you alongside Mark Soderstrom, Premiership players Adam Ramanauskas and Rod Jamieson, and Lauren Borden on the boundary. The Saints and the Giants to follow you from Norwood Oval.
Good on you, Clinchy. Certainly a great place to go and watch the footy. The smell of the sausage sizzles at Norwood, fantastic. That's next. St Kilda and GWS. Then we're off to Adelaide Oval for Port versus Hawthorn. But Fremantle here lead the Tigers by 41 points. Let's get the thoughts of our experts, Hall of Famers Peter Bell and Michael Malthouse.
Pretty dominant quarter for Fremantle, clearly. 6 goals to 1. They just controlled the footy, Mick. They marked the ball. They made it big. And Richmond, the effort behind their defence wasn't there anymore. They looked really tired. They weren't defending hard, and Fremantle were able to kick their way through to kick those 6 goals. Interestingly, at 3/4 time, just caught Tom Lynch doing some run-through, so not exactly sure what was going on there. Hopefully it's not another soft tissue, but he was doing some run-throughs with the trainer, so it'll be interesting to see if he plays a role in the last quarter. And also saw Isaiah Dudley, local Fremantle player from this region. He was warming up as well, so maybe he'll be into the game as well.
Spot on, Belly. I'll just go through, again, I must emphasise about stats. They don't prove anything, but sometimes there's a little bit of hint of it. So 103 possessions to Richmond first quarter, 114 in the second, 62 in the third. Now, a side like Richmond, with what they've got in front of them, and I'm talking about their forward line, which is inexperienced, a lot of young blokes. Yeah, Lynch is down there, but he's been covered magnificently by Pearce or by Cox, whoever he goes to. And the way you cannot win games of football, you can't. In fact, they had 1 score. It was 1 goal, 62 possessions to 9, and this is Fremantle's 80, 87, 93. So that heat factor hasn't at this stage had any impact on what the Dockers have shown us. Now, Richmond have really fallen off, and it's quite noticeable, Belly, that we've done the 2 games here. North Melbourne were exactly the same. The side that's struggling, that hasn't got all the class, just has a big couple of quarters. They dig in, they show all sorts of endeavour. Then it just falls away, just gradually. Then it becomes a rolling ball, and then it's just like an avalanche. And I just hope that the Tigers can hang on enough not to be beaten by any more than what it is at the moment, 6 or 7 goals. Look, we're looking at, quite frankly, we're looking at 10 goals away Fremantle playing at the moment. A lot of their players, the 2 that I've been really impressed in, they may not even feature in the best. Darcy and Young, they are making this side so much better, and I think, and I'm going to throw Pearce in there, because when I reflect on Fremantle last year, I've got a funny feeling that, and you guys would know better than me, but Pearce missed a lot of part of last year with his elbow. He is fundamental to that back line. You know, you can have Ryan and these sort of players. They're okay, but they're not tall. Pearce, and Belly, you mentioned it about how tall he was in making that tackle. He is I can understand why he's captain. He's outstanding. And then what happened in the middle when Young was around the ball, and Darcy in the ruck. So Darcy and everyone goes, oh, what are they going to do with Jackson? Well, that's fine. Someone has to miss out. So the way Amos is playing today, I wouldn't have Amos in the side. He's going to have to go back and start to think about how he's going to start playing the game. This is not good what's happening with Richmond coming off the ground either. I've got a funny feeling that might be Lynch coming off with the trainers. So there goes their experience in the forward line. But I've been really impressed in the Dockers today. I haven't got them in the 8. But on today's performance, I know it's against Richmond, but there's a lot of really good signs.
I think Hayden Young will see this year, injuries permitting. He'll also play a bit forward. He hasn't impacted the score. He's had the one goal from a midfield, but he's flown for a few in the air. He's a very good mark, and I think he'll be a player that they experiment with as a forward as well, Mick.
But he can come off the half-back flank and have a devastating impact on that ball movement. Devastating, because he's such a thumping kick.
Some of the numbers, the inside 50s, Fremantle, how's this differential? 49-27. When you look at the contested possessions, relatively even there. Fremantle just +2. The marks inside 50 as well. 13-3 the way of the Fremantle Dockers. Leading ball winners, Hopper 29, Tom Brown 21 for the Dockers, Brayshaw 22 and Sarong 21. Stephen Murphy downstairs.
Yes, the Dockers have subbed out Luke Ryan, just managed for Isaiah Dudley, who now comes on, of course. And in bad news for Richmond fans, if the scoreboard wasn't bad enough, the breeze has just picked up a little bit and is now going to the end. The Fremantle Dockers are kicking this quarter.
I reckon they're going to make that sub change to the Tigers. Keep an eye on that for us, if you would, Steve, downstairs. Underway in the final term. Ball bounces away towards the outer side. Green slapped it back to Taranto, who then kicks down the throat of a Docker in Clark. But there's a free kick coming back for Fremantle anyway, a little bit further up the field. Taken there by Chapman, who moved it to O'Meara. He kicks a bouncing ball inside forward 50, met by Boston coming the other way. Wrapped up by Brayshaw. Took him to ground and he wins the free kick for holding the ball. Andrew Brayshaw can go back and have a shot. He's right in front, but he'll be kicking from about 51 out. Boston standing on the defensive top of the 50-metre arc. He hands it off to Clark, and that was well read by Sonsi, because Clark was lining up, going on the run, and Sonsi made sure that he couldn't do that, so Clark instead had to move it by foot out to Johnson, who's at right half forward, but still 50 from goal, 45-degree angle to the right.
To be right on Matt Johnson's kicking distance, so we'll get an indication of the breeze. And Andy Brayshaw, I mentioned before, he's a high score assist player, but also a high pressure point player, which is give you an indication of that two-way kind of midfielder that he is. Very valuable.
So Johnson from the logo, 50 out, right behind the kick. It's going left. It misses left. Minor score. Let's head back to the boundary. Steve Murphy.
Yes, as you experts predicted, Tom Lynch has been subbed out for Jacob Bauer. Now comes on the former South Aussie.
Very interesting there. Peter Bell and I noticed just at three-quarter time, he did these run-throughs away from the group, Tom Lynch, and then was talking to a physio and now subbed out of the game. So I dare say that'll be an injury. Just how severe for Tom Lynch.
Yeah, he didn't have the greatest of body language as he was trudging off the field. He's had a shocking run, so fingers crossed it's a better outcome than what it looks at the moment.
Here's a question from Rule of Adelaide. If Mick's the soup guy, and we've decided that Ben's George Costanza, which Seinfeld characters are the rest of you?
Belly's Kramer and you're Elaine, I think Kramer. It has to be.
I'm happy with Elaine. She had more class than the rest of them.
That'll be Newman.
I've got...
Hello, Newman.
Hello, Newman.
I've got Lingy as Kramer. Same curls, just different colour hair.
Who was Elaine's boyfriend that used to dress up in the Devil's colours? Yeah, I reckon that's probably most likely me. Ball thrown up into the air, and Fremantle will bring it down through O'Meara, and it's been taken to ground by Taranto. Climpwood alongside Ben Cameron.
Ball up by 42 as Darcy wins the tap down. Out after it there quickly is Clark. Unable to gather the football. Banks gets involved. Handball away off to Taranto. He gets rid of it back to Banks. Banks will kick around the wing up towards Pearce, who gets involved for the Dockers. Brings it down off to Cox. Now Brayshaw spinning out of trouble off to Pearce. And Johnson chaining handballs through the middle of the Dockers. Here is Dudley, the sub into the game, kicks inside 50. Bouncing ball for Voss, can't trap it. Now does, gets a handball away to Switkowski. Wide out, nowhere to go. He'll come infield with his kick, looking back centrally. And marked there by McIntosh. He's got it at fullback for Richmond. Dockers by 42.
He'll go into the right back pocket. Marked there by Broad. Beyond defensive 50 with his kick. Chance to build up again with Ralph Smith marking hard up against the boundary. Crowd was between 9 and 10,000 yesterday. It'll be the same again today. Packed in and enjoyed their time in the Barossa. Now Smith's kick is turned over to Warner.
Had a good game, Warner.
There was no movement by Richmond. It was just had to be a blob kick, and Fremantle had their positioning so well. So the Tigers got to come up and meet the football. They're under enormous pressure in the back half. So
Warner to Chapman, kicks deep inside forward 50. Tracy flies, can't mark. Here's Dudley on the ground. The sub went out after it, couldn't keep it quite in play. Came back to the Tigers again. Thumping kick has gone out of bounds on the full. Let's head downstairs. Trainer, the player who sent it out of bounds on the full, Steve Murphy. Steve?
Yeah, just further to that subbing of Todd Lynch. They're calling it tactical, so you would assume not too serious. You would assume.
They also
I hope
might
that's
be,
right.
They might be telling fibs too.
Short kick
It's not a lie if you believe it.
from Frederick as Brayshaw kicks long inside 50 and getting back Nankervis marks. That fullback there for Richmond. He kicks laterally across to Short. Short in the back pocket. Fremantle by 42 points and a 50-metre penalty. Patrick Voss just struggling to get off the mark there and conceding that 50. It'll march Short up the field. Gather round on ABC Sport.
Notice that Benny's not as quick with the 50 as he does after.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Brendan Goddard told us a great story about St Kilda's GPS numbers when they were playing against your sides, Mick, and their defensive running stats were higher than their offensive running stats, which is quite incredible, isn't it? Long kick inside 50 for Richmond. Out the back it goes, picking it up. Here's Green. Do it again. He can't. He misses across the face. Minor score. Fremantle by 41 points. Played 5.5 in this final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
More of a bronzy green than the golden green from earlier on.
Yeah.
Good to see them get a couple of goals, the Tigers, just to give them a bit of confidence moving into next week, because they've really been flat since half-time. There's been little run, no imagination.
Clark wasn't sure where to go from the right back pocket, so he switches play to Cox in the left back pocket. Cox is also not sure where to go, so he'll go back to Clark. They're waxing around. Kicks have to be precise, they are. Clark standing hard up against the boundary. Brings it to Chapman, right half back for Fremantle. The Dockers with a very imposing lead at the moment. 41.6 minutes into the last. Here's Chapman towards right half forward. 2-on-2 battle. Darcy brought it down. Young gathered it first time. Under pressure. Got a hand pass away. Short tackled by Brayshaw. Came out again to Young. Went back to Johnson. Handed it back again to the logo. Commentarying to Chapman. That kick was absolutely bang on. Just went over the top of McIntosh for Clark to mark. And he'll switch play to Banfield on the logo out of side.
Here is Banfield shipping it up towards Frederick. 51 metres out for the Dockers. Half forward flank. One of their three South Aussies. He looks into the pocket, waits his kick for Bolton, who marks. Close to the boundary line, or did he juggle it out? He didn't do either. He's out on the full. So Richmond to get it back in their right back pocket. Miller goes short to that man, Jaden Short, who pokes a kick to Trezise. 47 out from his defensive goal, left half back flank.
It's very pedestrian by the Tigers. There's no run. No run, no movement forward of the ball. They just have to go up the line and hope that someone marks it.
That's what Trezise does. Floating in from the side is the sub Bauer trying to get into the game. Spills down for Young. He'll retrieve with the kick for the Dockers. Back to Pearce. Backward of the logo.
Puts it into the middle of the ground. There is Dudley. He's played out in the Barossa once before with Central Districts in the Sandful. Dudley kicks long inside forward 50. Darcy brought it to ground. Here's Bolton gathering, snapping, goaling. He's class, and you can see exactly why they work so hard to taking him away from the Richmond Tigers. And Bolton converts. He's got 3-2.
Sorry, really.
2 now. 2 to Bolton. He'll get 3, though, in plenty of games this year. That score, Fremantle 14-9-93 to Richmond 7-4-46. The Dockers lead is 47 points. 8 gone in the last. Good you can be with us. Gather round on ABC Sport, ABC Radio, Sport Digital, streaming on the ABC. Listen out our experts, Hall of Famers, the both of them, Michael Malthouse and Peter Bell.
Yeah, well, jury's out with me with Bolton. He's like dancing with his sister today. That he knows them all. This is probably his best game. I'd like to see him play against a good team and produce what they got him for, which is that X factor in the forward line where can create from the ground ball and go little cameos through the middle, and often, not when I say cameos, I'm talking about 2 or 3 a quarter per game. So get involved.
Fremantle out of the middle again. Here's Brayshaw off to Darcy. The ruckman end over end towards full forward. No mark taken. Background level. Trezise mops up. Handball to Brown. Clearing kick just beyond the arc. Mark taken by Shaw.
Just get Steve to keep an eye on Brennan Cox on the interchange at the moment. He didn't look too good coming from the field.
Long kick up towards the wing. There's a downfield free kick anyway. The Richmond players just trot forward with a great sense of urgency.
I think that injury
runs past the ball. No one knows whose free kick it is.
That injury, I reckon, was in the marking contest. When he landed, I thought he may have got cramp. I hope it's only cramp.
Fremantle by 47 has had some soft tissue issues, hasn't he, Brennan Cox? As the kick goes into the pocket from short for Richmond. Blight reaching up, not quite. Fall it was rather, and dispossessed.
He is one, Brennan Cox, who... He's a mad sweater, so profuse sweater. So these hot games, he's come down with full body cramps on a number of weeks, so he'd be praying for some cooler weather, Brennan Cox.
Yeah. Every game this year for the Dockers under the heat policy, believe it or not, dating right back to that Indigenous All-Stars game. It's a wrong long kick from the back pocket.
Had the full body cramp last week, Cox. It was awkward to see him try and get off the ground. As Tigers through Hopper, hand pass to Ralph Smith, runs to right half forward, kicks towards full forward, one-on-one battle, Chapman up against Bauer. Bauer gathered, got taken to ground, wrapped up. They weren't holding the ball, the Dockers. Pearce got him, and they'll get the free kick too. Pearce will take it. Top of his defensive goal square for Fremantle. Someone to run to him. He'll kick it long. Waiting for it was Banfield, spoiled on by Ralph Smith. Opportunity to square centre the football, and here is the young man on debut. Jonty Fall, marking in front of goal, going back to try and kick his first goal in AFL football in his first game.
That was well squared up, really well done. Good spoil for a start off of Ralph Smith, sorry.
Steely Green.
And the ball across the face of goal, because the back line of Fremantle actually dropped back, so they gave him that little bit of space.
Taken at pick 14 in the 24 draft. 19 years of age. In he comes. Jonty Fall has missed. Putting to the right-hand side. 14.993 the Dockers, 7.547 the Tigers. The Dockers leads 45 points, 11.5 into the last. Let's head downstairs. Steve Murphy on the boundary.
Yeah, just an update on Brendan Cox, definitely only cramp. Apparently the Dockers have now played 5 heat policy games in a row, which might explain why some of them are struggling. Of course, a hot day today.
Warner kicks around the wing and 2 wide, out of bounds on the full. Free kick going the way of Sonzi. Sonzi kicked short. Ross is able to accept it. Richmond in possession, just forward of halfway. Fremantle by 46. Ross sets it up towards full forward. They come from all angles. Juggling it down, unable to mark his blight. And he goes again at ground level. So too Campbell, picking it up quickly. Sarong. Handball to Chapman, who just whacks it out of there with a clearing kick. And the mark taken by Trezise. Half forward flank for Richmond. Infield with the kick. Short, his kick, a turnover. Young's got it and the Dockers will break. He can just waltz for the time being. Now he'll kick it up the middle.
He just allows it to bounce. It'll be a race inside the forward 50. Went past Amos Short, gets back there, slapped it straight to Dudley, couldn't take it. Here's Voss, decides the hand pass back to Frederick. Frederick snaps. Frederick's got his third. It is becoming a rout now for the Fremantle Dockers. They move to be 15.999. Richmond 7.547. Their lead is out to what is a game-high 52 points. 13 gone in the final term. Gather round on ABC Sport, our experts Mick Malthouse and Peter Bell.
Mick, I'm really glad Pat Voss handballed that ball to Frederick and didn't decide to do the big U-turn and have a shot for himself. You've got to reward the runner. The game's done and dusted, but as we saw yesterday, Gold Coast, get the ball to a person in a better spot to kick the goal. You've got to reward the hard work. He could have snapped himself, but that is team player. I really liked it.
Yeah, absolutely, Billy. And interestingly enough, Gold Coast and Fremantle remind me of each other because they've got relative strengths in the same areas, forward line, their back line, and they may well be fighting out for that position in the 8, so you need those team disciplines.
Coming up, we'll be off to St Kilda and GWS. Matt Clinch, Mark Soderstrom, Adam Ramanaskas and Rod Jamison. Lauren Borden with them as well as the Dockers go inside forward 50 from the restart. They did it slickly, and Dudley, the sub, he takes the mark and go back and have a shot. I have to say again, Reid with the delivery, if he doesn't get a Rising Star nomination in this round, the Dockers fans, they should pick at the AFL.
Well, he's 168 centimetres tall. Call this one home, gents.
Here he comes. Isaiah Dudley on his way in, and he misses to the right-hand side. A minor score. I'm going to go back to Murphy Reid. Surely it's about time through weight of work that he gets that Rising Star nom, Billy.
Hasn't had his biggest day today, unfortunately.
Yep.
Which
it'll come soon enough.
Yeah. Yep. Very good player. Bearing kick for the Tigers. Up to the wing. Up they go. There's Blight through his hands. Down at ground level. Steely Green swiftly through the pack. Handball away to Bauer. His handball errant. Finds Trainer, though, who just drops it. Has to go back and get it. Back to Bauer. Back to Taranto. On the logo. Kicks Richmond up to the wing. Down marks. Nothing he likes immediately, so he gets rid of it. Bauer going through again. Kicks inside 50. Blight's down there. He doesn't take the mark. Out of play. Throwing in the forward pocket. Now for the Tigers. Trail by 53 points. 15-10, 100 play. 7-5, 47. And as the cloud cover just rolls in once again. This has been Gather Round on ABC Sport. Still 2 games to come after this.
Ball back into play. One down by Voss. Taken by Sharp for the Dockers. Hands it off to Frederick. Thumps it right up the middle of the ground. Only Broad is back there. He takes the mark. He was the furthest player back for the Tigers. Just to the left of the centre circles, commentary side of the ground, and he shares it out to Sonsi, marking on the logo. Goes back to Broad. Still the deepest player for Richmond. It's across the centre circles to Vloxton. Takes a couple of seconds, assess what's in front of him, and goes on a run. And then kicks along into the right forward pocket. Big fly, Bauer couldn't get to it. Spill down to the Dockers. Sharp hands it to Clark, takes 2 bounces, runs across his defensive goal square, then kicks beyond defensive 50. This will favour the Tigers. That wasn't great at all.
Bad kick. Really bad kick. Had all day. In fact, it's almost become a pedestrian game now. No one's moving, no one's running. Dockers have got everyone in behind the line just to save energy and save the score.
Cease marked and went back to Broad again, now to Vloxton. Switch of play again to Miller. It's on the outer side of the ground. Able to stab it short. They can set up again here, Richmond, from centre wing, outer side. This is Trainer.
Just kicks it around. This is absolutely junk time at the moment, isn't it? As the kick goes to Miller, tackled by Tracy. How many goals can Tracy get to? Can he get to 7? Can he get to 8? Still a little bit of time left in this game. Already a PB here today. Umpire Matt Nichols, very sun smart. With the cap on and plenty of sunscreen. He's had some issues there, so great to see him back out and umpiring as Murphy Reid gets a clearing kick. Tracy gathers the footy, half forward flank, handball away to Brayshaw, back to Murphy Reid, and that is a classy finish. No, very nearly. Just couldn't quite direct the drop punt on target. Text earlier about whether the Reids, Harley, Archer and Murphy are related. No relation between any of those 3, but Archer Reid is the younger brother of Essendon's Reid.
He reads about. Beyond defensive 50 again for the Tigers. Stolen by Draper of the Dockers. His hand pass, though, was intercepted. He just had to pop it forward. Trainer got in the way, and he's tackled. Frederick, by the way, 3 goals. Tracy with 6. Bolton with a couple for the Dockers. Nice Rowley with 2 for the Tigers. Fremantle centre deep back inside forward 50. Here's Young in front at full forward. 2-on-2 battle. And Young was able to rise up into the air from the Clark inside 50, and he takes the mark for Fremantle right in front.
Hair's gone out of the game, Mick, but that's what we were talking about at three-quarter time. When he has a run and jump at it, he's pretty hard to stop, Hayden Young, and that'll be something that Justin Longmuir will enjoy exploring over the course of this season.
Well, he's come right out of the goal square. So he was the deepest player. Amos again got caught wide, locked in a one-on-one, so it's gone to Young.
Young from 30 metres out. Easy as you like for Young and for the Dockers. He's got 2. Fremantle put their lead out to 10 goals. 16-11, 107. Richmond to 7-5, 47. 19 gone in the last. Gather round on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Ben Cameron, our experts, Mick Malthouse and Peter Bell.
Well, a bit like yesterday, Belly, the stands are empty. There are a lot of Richmond people are walking off and probably take up residence at a number of wineries, I would say, Ben. They've had enough. The area is fantastic. The game itself has deteriorated to a pedestrian place. And I'm thinking that it's going to be self-preservation now over the next few minutes to see the Dockers know they've got this one done and dusted, but self-preservation for the rest of the next couple of weeks, in fact.
Bounce back in the middle, beautifully down by Darcy to Sarong, hooking around the back, left foot kick inside 50, not his best. Vlosten wins it. Half volley pick up and then earns a free kick for a high tackle from Switkowski. Flares his kick out to the wing. Nankervis gives it off to Banks. Running by, kicks inside 50. Bouncing ball for Morris Rioli. Keeps it in. Some of that Rioli magic. Kicks infield, doesn't find a target. Campbell can't gather it. Clark can. Dockers bounce it out of halfback. Brayshaw to Chapman. Now to Sharp, running down that eastern wing. And over to Dudley. Right on the centre line, wide out. Dudley comes infield to Sarong. Dockers by 10 goals neat. Sarong's handball to the run of Banfield. Left foot kick up towards Bolton, who marks 51 metres out at half forward. In fact, the mark will just be dragged back a little bit. So the mark set 49 metres out. Is this within range for Shea Bolton, Mick and Belly?
Well, if he's got, we know he's got brains, he will play on around this. Richmond have just deserted next to where he can play on. So
the lamppost, Mick.
Well, the lamppost is stuck, but you don't have to be a lamppost behind him. So there he goes. Around.
Here goes Bolton, veers out to the right. His kick to the goal line. Nankervis punches it through. Fremantle by 61, 21 minutes into this final term. Gather round on ABC Sport from Barossa Park in Lindok.
They'll be happy to kick it around and uncontested mark Fremantle just to make sure that it's not a more fatigue than what they need at this stage and try and get through without any injuries.
We'll head downstairs quickly on the boundary. Steve Murphy.
Yeah, crowd slightly more than yesterday's game at the Barossa. We had 9,300 yesterday. Official crowd today, 10,028.
Wow.
So they've snuck in 28 people. We were told capacity 10,000. They've done well. Ooh, free kick given away in the middle of the ground here. Voss stretching, took Vlosten high. Vlosten has remained down after that as well. Certainly haven't been all that thrilled by it. I think there's, to use the right term in wine country, there's a bit of claret coming out of Vlosten's face too. He might be spending a couple of weeks of action. What do you think, Mick?
Well, it was open hand, but it was a swinging action, and it's high, and it's he could find himself in trouble with that. Yeah.
I think it's very crude. I reckon Voss might be in a bit of strife there.
Vlosten's having a few words to him on the way off. He is not happy about it, Nick Vlosten. He was turning and jawing at Patrick Voss and then reenacted the swinging arm to the physio. So
it's a lot of blood.
It's high. It's had impact. It's meant he's had to leave the ground. I would argue careless, but still
high.
I said high. High. It's medium.
Well, it's pretty high impact.
They might argue intentional. Wrong kick from Trezise. Inside attacking 50. Down in front of the pack. Getting involved, Jager O'Meara. Nowhere to go.
That's that line, isn't it? Whether it's high impact or medium impact, whether or not he's just clocking on the nose, which has forced it to bleed, or whether he's done serious damage.
Well, when you have a look at it in slow motion, that is a high impact. That's high impact. That is a real swinging arm, regardless you've got your fist or your hand. It's not just putting your arm over, he swung it.
Yeah.
So he's in real trouble.
Would you go careless or intentional, Mick? Because that'll make the biggest difference.
They'll
probably go careless because the high impact, it'll still likely spit out at 2 or 3 weeks. So that was a little silly from Patrick Voss as Johnson in the back pocket just leaves the ball behind. He gets to carry it along, and then Sarong tries to help him out and handballs it out of play. So 61 points Fremantle's advantage. It's going to be a big win, but will be slightly soured by Patrick Voss with that swinging arm, and no doubt a suspension to come.
I think that's a 3-week suspension.
Yep. As soon as you swing the arm, you can't be hitting anyone high.
Thrown back in. Draper won it down. Came out to Chapman, got a hand pass over his shoulder. Johnson put his head over the football. Trying to emerge with it there. Sonsi swept the hand pass over his right shoulder. Tigers are able to quickly kick it back towards Bauer, who flew. Couldn't mark though. Punched back by Fremantle. Came to Cox. Worked it out towards Amos. Hand pass to Dudley. Step one. Takes a bounce. Goes back by hand to Sharp. Gives it again to Dudley. Green provides pressure. Dudley, he's got all the tricks. Oh, he races away from Steely Green. Takes one bounce and a second and a third. Then hand passes to Brayshaw. Oh, Dudley, do right. Now Brayshaw kicks towards full forward. Frederick couldn't mark. Spills out the side. Tigers have numbers around it. Met here by Brown. Comes eventually to Taranto. Taranto kicks but turns it over. Marked here by Warner, who has it at right half forward.
Been really solid, Carl Warner. Brave in the air. Used the ball well. He's swum between the flags. Hasn't tried to bite off more than what he's capable of. I've liked the game.
7 and 18 players have been excellent. Just the odd couple from Fremantle just haven't contributed.
High kick inside 50, but picked off there by Broad. So Broad goes back across to his opposite pocket. The mark taken out there by Banks, and now Richmond work it quickly down that eastern wing, but Pearce is there, and Pearce is able to mark just about foot of the logo for the Dockers. Gather round on ABC Sport. Freo by 61 points. Still to come, St Kilda and also GWS, as well as the big one, main event football later tonight. You hear it on ABC Sport. Port and Hawthorn.
Can't wait for that. By the way, the Saints and Giants game has been delayed by 3 minutes. So to bounce Australian Eastern time at 23 past 3. That's because this game has overrun. How often have we said that this year? The Tigers have been able to win the ball back and got it at right half forward. This is Sonsi with the orange boots on. He's able to take the mark. Pauses for a moment. Just not sure what to do with it. Originally from Seth Campbell. Sonsi hard up against the boundary at right half forward for Richmond. Kicks towards right full forward, attacking the football, and then going to ground was Chapman. Couldn't complete the mark. Warner got it away to Banfield. Clever hand pass again to Sarong. Now to Pearce. Working it through to Johnson. This is Brayshaw. Slick play from Fremantle. It comes to Bolton. He has it with the mark, just on the outer edge of the centre square. He'll move it to Sarong again in the middle of the ground. Now to Frederick, marking at the attacking edge of the centre square. Pops it inside forward 50. Well read, coming the other way. He attacked the football, and Traynor takes the defensive mark for the Tigers. There's less than a minute left. Richmond find themselves behind, though, by 61 points. 27 gone in the last.
Been down his end, Luke Traynor, but he's won a lot of footy, and he's shown an ability to do that in this early stage of his career. 22 touches today.
Stephen Murphy downstairs.
Yeah, just an update on Nick Vlosten. Definitely the nose, and a fair amount of ice being applied to that area as we speak.
And not good. Ralph Smith fumbles in the middle of the ground. Trying to get onto it. Across halfback is Bolton for the Dockers. And he'll flick a handball back. Warner has it in the back pocket, and he'll chip it short. Mark taken there by Banfield. Banfield kicks laterally into the back pocket where Sharp marks. So Sharp, he'll kick across to Warner again. And the Dockers just taking time out of this game at the moment. And for the first time in 2025, Justin Longmuir's side are ahead of the ledger. They move to 3-2. Now, we don't like an issue with the siren in Fremantle games in strange locations, but finally, Fremantle 16-12-108. They win over Richmond 7-5-47. A 61-point win in the Barossa Valley for the Fremantle Dockers. Way to go. Hit 'em real hard, send 'em down below. Oh, Freo, give 'em the old beat home. We are the
It's a sparkling win by Fremantle in the Barossa. A lot to be bubbly about if you are a Dockers fan. They get up by 61 points and climb up to 9th on the AFL ladder. And they had an outstanding effort from their big forward, the big kahuna, Josh Tracy, kicking 6. Michael Frederick with 3. Young with a couple. So too Shea Bolton up against his old side. And singles to Murphy Reid, Patrick Voss. And the captain got in on the action as well, Alex Pearce, with his first goal of the season, and indeed for some time. Richmond, 2 goals to Rioli, and then singles pretty much all the way through. Lynch, McIntosh, Sonsi and Blight. And after half-time, the Tigers kicked just the one major. Fremantle, on the other hand, were able to find their way to 9 goals in front of 10,028 people at Barossa Park in Linddoch. The Dockers by 61 points. In about 2 minutes, we're off to the Saints and the Giants, but let's get the thoughts first of our experts. Peter Bell and Mick Malthouse for you. This is Gather Round on ABC Sport.
They were seasoned compared to Richmond, Mick, and that was the difference. They were able to control the ball. They were a bit tougher. They won more clearances and they won a stack more inside 50s, plus 29, and they had the best key forward by a long way on the ground.
And they had the best back line. The back line, I was really impressed with the back line. I know Richmond didn't have a great forward line to contest, but the way they were able to get the ball out of the back line and find those players coming up the ground, I'm very impressed in the methodology of Fremantle today. There wasn't many areas that broke down. Yes, early days, I suppose, the Tigers had a crack at them, but from there on in, they were, in fact, it's hard to pick the bottom 6 players of Fremantle today because they blended right in. There's a couple there that didn't contribute, and that'll be a little bit of a worry. I think they'll probably lose Voss, and Amos hasn't fired. So Jackson's probably a couple of weeks away, I'm suspecting. So under those circumstances, they might have to come up with a different forward line next week.
Interesting that, Mick, what you're saying is right. Remember, they kicked 4 goals from their first 8 entries, and then, what is it, if I quickly do a calculation, another 28 inside 50s to kick another 3.
3, yeah.
So that gives you an indication of how the match was played. But, yeah, it was a professional performance from Fremantle with still some RFI in there.
Is that Dudley's first game? Can I just ask that question?
It was the third game down.
I tell you what,
came on and gave something, didn't he? Got some tricks.
Oh.
We'll get the votes for you. We'll feed them down the line for Matt Clinch and Mark Soderstrom to tell you. We're about to head off to the Saints and the Giants. Just repeating, Fremantle by 61 points, 16-12, 108 to Richmond 7-5-47. AFL football in the Barossa has been an absolute winner. If you weren't here, hopefully it's back again for Gather Round next season. Brayshaw led the way with 31 disposals, Sarong with 29, Chapman 25 for the Tigers, Hopper with 33. Josh Tracy, a career-high 6 goals. One of the absolute standouts for the Fremantle Dockers in their win over the Tigers. On behalf of the crew out here at the Barossa, let's take you to Norwood.